morning, everyone, and welcome to Moneyline with Nancy. I am Nancy Naji here in Abuja, where, of course, it's raining cats and dogs. It's such a wet one this morning. But today, the world appears to be holding its breath. From Washington to Tehran, investors are watching. A peace deal is expected to be signed this Friday between the United States and Iran in Switzerland. And the big question is whether it will finally remove the geopolitical risk premium hanging over oil markets and the critical Strait of Hormuz, the future of shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, which is a waterway responsible for moving about a fifth of the world's oil supply. At the same time, global central banks are delivering policy decisions. This week, the BOJ has delivered its own on Tuesday, testing the delicate balance between growth, inflation, and financial stability. Here at home, Nigeria's inflation rate has risen to 15.93% in May, raising fresh questions about purchasing power, the cost of living, monetary policy, interest rates, and whether the country's reform agenda is really delivering the stability many had hoped for, and of course, investment returns and the trajectory of the economy. So what do these global shocks and domestic realities mean for you, your money, your business, and your investment decisions? Joining me shortly after the break is an investment professional, Dr. Ayodeji Ebo, for a deep dive into the big issues driving the global and Nigerian economies. And like I always say, don't forget to follow us across our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Moneyline with Nancy TV. That's it on the screen for more insightful content, of course. All right, so that's it. Let's quickly move into the news right now. And we will begin by telling you that the federal government plans to raise 1.2 trillion naira through the reopening of the two FGN bonds at an auction scheduled for June 22nd. According to the Debt Management Office, 600 billion naira will be offered on a 10-year bond with another 600 billion naira in a 20-year instrument. The issuance comes as the central bank maintains tight liquidity conditions, driving yields higher. The auction highlights the government's funding needs and continued investors' interest in long-term securities. All right, I think we'll do this. Let's take a break, and when we come back, I will be chatting with Ayodeji Ebo, and of course, within the program, I will take you through the rest of what's making the news headlines, the business news headlines this morning. Don't forget, it's still Moneyline with Nancy here in Abuja, and it rained cats and dogs some minutes ago, but it stopped now here in Asokoro. I don't know what it looks like in other parts of Abuja. I'm being told that Lagos is also wet, but let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Investments Company Limited presents the Abuja Business and Investment Expo 3.0. More than an expo, it's the ultimate gateway to Africa's booming markets, powered by AICL, driving growth across the Federal Capital Territory and beyond. Theme: Building Nigeria's capital, investment as a catalyst for economic growth. Connect with industry leaders through keynote panels, workshops, and networking sessions. Keynote speaker, Dr. Emomotimi John Agama, DG Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. Date: August 5th to 7, 2026. Time: 10 a.m. daily. Venue: Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center, Abuja. Accreditation: August 4th at the same venue. For inquiries and WhatsApp, 091-3500-1059. Email abis@abujainvestments.com. ABIE 2026, brought to you by AICL. Trailing the blaze, setting the pace, driving the future.
Out you come.
With the shortage of brand new aircraft delivery across the world, Emirates decided to go it alone and refurbish over 200 of our existing planes at our own engineering facility. This makes it the largest retrofit program on the planet. For our customers, it means even greater consistency of a world-class product.
Nigeria has survived everything, not because we are lucky, but because in the hardest moment when the news breaks and the grief is raw, someone somewhere makes a choice.
To confirm before spreading panic. To empathize rather than assign blame. To hold when everything inside said, pooh.
For terrorism is not only the attack that sparks our outrage. Terrorism is also the choices that follow, the ones that feed division and erode the bonds of nationhood and patriotism that hold us together as Nigerians.
Let us choose to defeat terror, one division at a time. Take your pulse. Choose Nigeria.
Let's all unite against terror.
Every day, across forests, highways, towns, and villages, brave men and women stand watch so that Nigeria can sleep. They leave their families behind, confront danger head-on, and make sacrifices many of us will never see. Yet, the enemies of our nation continue their assault. They target our children. They murder innocent citizens. They force families from their homes. They turn thriving communities into places of fear and uncertainty. Their goal is simple: to break our spirit, divide our people, and steal the future of our nation. But Nigeria is stronger than terror. As we demand greater accountability, stronger security measures, and more effective action from those entrusted with our safety, we must also play our part. Support our security forces. Salute their gallantry. Stand with those who stand for us. If you see something, say something. Let us be our brother's keeper. We must never surrender to fear, despair, or hopelessness. This is not the time for division, not by tribe, not by religion, not by region, not by political party. Because terror recognizes no ethnicity, no faith, and no ideology. Its enemy is all of us. And together, united as one people, we can defeat it. For our children, for our communities, for our future, for Nigeria. Join the movement. Stand for our country. Stand for one another. Hashtag Unite Against Terror.
All right, welcome back. Dr. Ayodeji Ebo is joining me right now. He's an investment professional. Dr. Ebo, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Nancy. It's great to be here.
Yes, good to have you. Is Lagos wet this morning? Is it raining?
Very, very wet this morning.
Very wet.
Raining cat and dog.
Yes, raining cats and dogs. Now, let's begin with the story, the peace deal that will be signed in Switzerland on Friday. Do you think that this Iran deal is a genuine turning point? Because all of us are watching it, many analysts are watching it, obviously so, as to the impact of the Iran deal if it's been signed. Do you think that this kind of announcement that we have now sounds bigger than it actually is, or this is a really genuine turning point for all the parties involved?
Okay, so it will be a tough call to say whether it's really genuine or whether it's really going to hold waters. But what we all know is that if it actually hold waters, we know the role the Strait of Hormuz, that particular channel, plays, because it controls about 25% of the global crude oil movement, as well as about 90% of liquefied natural gas. So it's very significant. And we can also see the drop based on the announcement and anticipation that it will hold. You can see crude oil prices dropping to around $80 per barrel and may go below, already going below, which has direct implication on Nigeria. So, because when you analyze the last 3 months, the war started in February and escalated in March. But if you analyze the movement in terms of cost of PMS, have moved by over 35%. You also look at diesel, which most businesses make use of, is over 50%. So that's cascaded into significant increase in transportation costs, feeding costs, production costs, and can see how that has impacted on the pressure that we're seeing on inflation. So I think, so by and large, we'll be hoping that this holds significantly, and this particular agreement, they were able to scale through, at least for the first, is it the 60 days, and see how that pan out. It's really going to have significant impact. We may not see the immediate adjustment because, you know, if you have bought stock at a very high price, it's not easy to immediately drop compared to if prices move, you want to sell at the replacement cost, because you also always hear that whilst price of PMS not drop significantly. So you see yourself as into business, you bought an item at a very high price. So even if the cost at which you are going to replace that has dropped, you cannot sell at a loss because the price has dropped. So over time, if this particular agreement holds, we'll begin to see that drop, which we are seeing marginally, and we believe that it would help reduce the pressure that we're currently seeing. And you know, Nigeria, we also have that major challenge because there's no price control, where prices of items may not return. It's always, we say it's sticky downwards, may not return to those previous levels, even if crude oil prices get back to those levels. We have that major challenge in Nigeria. So, but we feel that over time, then we may begin to see the pressure ease off.
So are you saying that we shouldn't be optimistic that if this deal is signed in Switzerland on Friday?
I would say we should not be overly optimistic.
So we should be cautiously optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic, given the historical trend of how prices react in Nigeria.
Yes, because prices go up, they never come down. Are you saying we shouldn't even have hope at all that if this is signed, on Friday in Switzerland, with time, perhaps, let's say weeks, because even the shipping operators have said that we should also be cautious, that we may not see drastic change in weeks. It may come in months and even years. So are you saying that perhaps we will not get back to a time where we buy PMS in Nigeria at 750 or 800 naira, less than 1,000 we used to buy it? Because that's all of us would, that's actually what all of us should be praying for now, that, okay, let them just sign this peace deal. Let the world get some kind of peace, and we get back to a semblance of normalization, which was abnormal normalization before, as it were, but it's even worse now.
So I would say that it's really going to be very tough. And to me, it's going to be a surprise if we get back to the 750 naira levels, even if crude oil prices comes to the $60 per barrel or almost $65 per barrel levels when the war started, because of how prices react. But we should also be optimistic that there would definitely be a drop, maybe below 1,000, but it's not going to be immediate. You know, I cited an example where a lot Nigerians are into business. If you buy a particular item, let's say iPhone, you bought it at 1 million naira, and you discover that in the market, it has dropped, if you are going to buy, to 800,000. You will not sell the current item at 800,000. But let's assume if you flip it the other way around, if you actually bought the iPhone at 1 million and you discover in the market is 1.2 million, you have to sell at the replacement cost. If not, you will be out of business. I'm just trying to explain the psychology, why not trying to justify why prices should not go down. But that is how business work in reality. But competition will bring it down, because even if we have the major producer in Nigeria, Dangote Refinery, not bringing prices down, importers, because the sector has been deregulated, if they find it cheaper somewhere else, they will bring it in and sell at cheaper prices. So that competition would help drive price lower. But based on what you rightly said at Shippers Association, they are correct that prices, even if crude oil price go back to that pre-war level, prices of oil products may not go back to exactly that level, but may be close to it over the months, not going to be an immediate translation because of other things that it has impacted on. Energy prices, production. People are carrying stock for 6 months stocks. and they cannot sell below
it's a forward market,
current
apparently.
level.
Yes, it's a forward market, you know, so the prices have actually been traded, have been front-loaded, as it were. So, but I think you've answered my question around trading the gap between the announcement and the reality on ground. So that gap, we will still need to pay higher for that gap, because there's one thing between the announcement and there's one thing also for the reality on ground. Now, let's take a look at this other side, which is, okay, since you mentioned Dangote Refinery, let me take it from there. Now, Dangote Refinery has dropped gantry price by 75 naira. I'm aware, I think, was it yesterday. Nigeria is a net exporter of refined products now. That's petrol, thanks to Dangote Refinery. But petrol prices are still at the high side. So how do we, and let me also chip in this, gas prices. I'm being told that even outside Abuja, I think a kg of gas is 2,000 naira. Outside Abuja, it's trading for 3,000 naira, 2.5 plus or 2K plus in other places. So gas prices have jumped about 140% so far this year. How is it that Nigeria produces more oil and yet ordinary Nigerians still feel poorer at the energy pump? And I need us to answer this question. I know perhaps you talked about it a bit earlier, but I wanted us to draw down into it as an energy producer. Because if we take a look at some other energy producers around the world, even the United States, for example, the United States produces crude and also imports. China is the largest importer in the world. Saudi Arabia produces and also exports. The thing is, they were able to cushion those prices at the pumps for their citizens. Yet Nigerians still feel poor at the pump. So how do we reconcile this?
Okay, thank you. And this a lot of where Nigerians this question would always be in our mind. So you know, the first thing is that we need to know that this crude oil that we're producing, net exporter based on refining. The price that it will be sold the crude that is being used is globally priced, even if it's being explored in Nigeria, is globally priced. But what economists, you mentioned Saudi Arabia, so is that the revenue, the proceeds, the gains from having the benefit of producing refining crude oil or having crude in your nation is to develop the economy that will make things easier for people. So other clients, because they have been able to build enough revenue reserves, they were able to provide palliatives or incentives that would cushion the impact for that short period. But for us in Nigeria, you still look at the budget, you see the revenue gap, despite largely depending on even oil. The oil most times is always like the most guaranteed part of the revenue that comes. So there's still a lot that needs to be done. The excess revenue that we have received within these 3-4 months as a result of, or 3 months rather, as a result of increase in crude oil prices, what can we point to that excess has been used to do or has been used to develop the economy? So, and that is why, so we shouldn't expect that crude oil price would be sold lower than the global level, global prices, because we refine in Nigeria. What should be done is that the revenue from the resources that we have in abundance should be used to develop the economy, the rail system. You look at logistics, you know, because apart from insecurity, part of the pressure point for inflation is the logistics of bringing food. Why will you move food by road from the north to the south? That is a lot of money, and Nigerians are now paying for those inefficiencies because it will be cheaper to move those things by rail, which means that the landing costs will be reduced. These are some of the things that needs to be looked into. So overall, there's still that gap. We can't compare those nations we are not even close yet, because when you talk about, I know some of the major drawback that government would have had is even these palliatives, distributing them, we don't have the right data. Most times you see that the trillions cash transfers that we see, we don't feel that impact. Why? We know it's minute compared to the size of our economy, but you are not seeing that impact in the economy. So there's a need to come up with better framework that will give better multiplier impact or multiplier effect on Nigerians. You see, like when you look at the IMF reports, speaking, yes, there have been painful reforms, structural reforms, but how has it translated into inclusive growth? Because we are speaking about this high inflation. You look at month-on-month inflation at 1.7%. That means even if we maintain that 1.7%, annualized, that is almost 20.4% in a year. So something that costs about 1 million right now, it means in the next 1 year, we'll be buying it for around 1.2 million. Income don't rise at that level. So at the end of the day, overall, Nigerians' disposable income are being impacted. So there's still a lot that structurally to come up with policies that would improve the well-being of Nigeria, that they can earn faster than which inflation is eating into their wallets.
Okay, Ayo, let's talk about something very important, and let's still sticking with the oil market, because it's very vital, because we earn a lot of money from it, at least sustaining our budgets and whatever we need money from. I'm taking a look at the Iranian oil supply. Because with people familiar with the matter, I've been following the developments, at least in the last few days, in line with this deal that will be signed on Friday in Switzerland. The question around, if Iranian oil returns to the global market, how significant would that impact be on supply? Because we know that Iran holds some of the world's largest oil and gas reserves and was producing well over 3 million barrels per day before the conflict. And much of that production has remained constrained by sanctions, infrastructure limitations, and all of that. And with people familiar with the matter, what I've been reading in the last few days, those limitations would go immediately. At least it's one of the agreements that will be there signed on Friday. So how do you think it will reshape supply? And if with Iranian oil coming in, some of the things you had said earlier would not hold water anymore. You understand what I'm saying? Because there will be more supply into the market.
Yeah, so thanks. You raised a very valid point. Yes, there will be improving supply, but let's not also forget that supply also by OPEC are also a bit regulated. So when we see the Iranian oil come in, we may see maybe drop into around the 60, 65 levels, right? Which is almost where the pre-war prices were. So yeah, we will see that initial shock, but we would also now see that supply may begin to be regulated to keep oil price at a level. You know, part of what OPEC is still able to achieve, while we know we are not going into the effectiveness, but what they've also been able to achieve is that regulation to ensure that production is also attractive for those that are refining and extracting the crude. So there's always a level that they always have in mind. So we can say at the 60 levels, yes, that would impact, but I would still want to state that we may not see that 700 levels or 800 level in the immediate. Over time, competition may take it there. If we see that prices have also reduced abroad and it's cheaper, then we see that between those producing internally and those importing, prices would also have to adjust. But there's something instructive that we need to see now. Even if after opening the Strait of Hormuz, economists are also thinking of what are the alternatives to those channels now. You know, like when the issue of the Ukraine and Russian war, and when Russia was almost holding the Euro area to ransom, they began to think of alternative. Even after it was resolved, they began to think of alternative that can help so that that ease this monopoly of supply of gas to them. And that is what economists are already thinking, that if the Strait of Hormuz controls over 25%, and we can see that impact, what if it happens again very soon? So we would see that there would be a reduction, even if there's no crisis within that space. There will be alternatives that will be developed such that that sector or that section of the economy or within the continent cannot hold the world to ransom. So there's going to be a change in the route or in the structure of the supply, even as we progress, given what we have seen, what has happened to the global world, the impact that we've seen across the world.
Let's talk about G7, because while we're talking about this, the G7 leaders are also meeting. That's the group of 7 wealthy nations and wealthy democracies in the world. Of course, whatever these guys say, or not just guys, because there are also women in their midst. I think the Japanese prime minister there, as well as the Italian prime minister, of course, who are women amongst their midst. What do you think that this G7 summit would come up with? Of course, we're expecting a statement from them anytime soon, but they talked about Russia-Ukraine war, talked about, of course, the Iran deal, and you could even see from the body language, the other leaders were also trying to be a bit delicate with President Trump around, around him. So what do you expect from that meeting, and would it change anything in the world?
Okay, so when I looked at some of the major discussions they've been having, for instance, is trying to look at the impact of debt on developing nations, which Nigeria is also part, because they've seen that most of the economies are increasingly accumulating debt, which is also impacting on development. So you see in Nigeria, for instance, when you look at the debt servicing as a proportion of actual revenue, now sometimes can be as high as 70, 80%, which means that most of the monies that we are making, we're actually using it to service debt. So there's been discussion around how can something be done around that, which means that the developing countries or the African nations may need cheaper source of funding. And also private capital would also be very important. And that is where Nigeria should also think of, why are we not attracting as much private capital as possible? Do we have the enabler environment? Yes, the government, they are putting in efforts, painting perceptions, to project perceptions that the economy is right. But when we look in details, or sometimes when you engage some of these foreign guys, why are they not coming in? The enforcement of contracts is critical. Most times, they are always wary of signing contracts that are beyond a certain government. When you look at Nigeria, every 4 years, now we are preparing towards election. So for any serious investor now, we want to wait until after the next election to just sign a contract for about 4 years. And they are also now being skeptical, who is also going to come in, what kind of ideology the person coming in. So we need to come up with policies that can help sign those long-term contracts, 8 years, 12 years, that they know that even if that outlives any government and nothing can change it, maybe it's going to be legislated and the processes will be followed. That will begin to give confidence to a lot of foreign or private investors to come in, because those are like some of the discussions they are having. And they also discussed around oil, which is also very important. I think I spoke about that, trying to see how to reduce the reliance of the corridor of the Strait of Hormuz, so that something like this, if it happens in the future, the world is not held to ransom. And also, we're also seeing discussion around the Ukraine-Russia war in terms of the sanction. And if that is also put in place, like we're talking about the injection of the supply from Iran into the oil market, that may also douse the impact of that supply from Iran if we have significant restriction around the Russian oil. I think lastly that we just mentioned around some of the things that they discuss is the significant production and supply of products from China. And you see that the US is like a net importer from China, and you see China having trade surplus. Those are some of the discussions that they are also having. But we want to see how do we bring it to, how does it affect us in Nigeria? So you see that if with China having the ability to produce at a very cheaper rate because of cheaper labor and the like, so it means that would also impact on our own ability for production. We're trying to grow our manufacturing industrialization. So how do we think and become more competitive? Because if it's cheaper to bring a product from China and sell in Nigeria than producing them in Nigeria, it means that those manufacturing countries within that space will find it difficult to be able to produce and sell competitively within the country or outside.
Of course, just for emphasis, the core G7 member nations, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, UK, and the United States. And of course, they had some other guest nations that were invited. Kenya, India, Egypt. China was not part of it. And of course, let's also take a look at the European Union, the EU. I shouldn't forget to say that, as well as South Korea and Brazil were part of the member nations that were invited as guests. Now, let's take a look at macro issues. Talking about central banks this week, the BOJ made this, had its meeting and gave its decisions on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. We're expecting, I think, the Fed today. The BOE, that's the Bank of England, on Thursday. From central banks in the US now to Europe, the ECB was last week, the European Central Bank. What is the market, or what are the markets looking for globally? Is it now about rate cuts? Is it now about policy guidance, or perhaps a simple reassurance that inflation remains under control? That's one. Then the second part, let's bring it home, because I would like you to link it as we bring it home. If we take a look at what's happening in Nigeria, the IMF recently gave an assessment. That was last week, if I'm not mistaken. Last week, the latest assessment on Nigeria. If we take a look at our headline numbers, inflation numbers, it ticked up to 15.93%, and that was fueled heavily by spiraling gas as well as energy prices. So that cost pass-through, we saw it in inflation numbers in April. Where does the central bank now stand? Bearing in mind, that's our own central bank, bearing in mind now that the last monetary policy meeting, they were trapped in a corner, as it were, as a hold. Let's watch and see. What do you think as to what our central bank will do as they are trapped in a corner where interest rates hikes could, or let me say, if it's even losing its transmission policy? Because the IMF talked about it in its report last week. And the IMF chief was on the program last week. I hosted him here, I think last week, Wednesday, Thursday, where I actually had to digest the report and hear more from him. So what do you think about the transmission mechanism of our own monetary policy vis-a-vis now what we're expecting from global central banks, and even the Strait of Hormuz and the Iran-US deal? So it's a potpourri of issues, but they are all linked.
Okay, thanks. Starting with the first question around the global central banks. For most of the projection that we all had as analysts earlier in the year is that there's going to be like a a very conservative view in terms of rate cuts across the central banks. But the war that started February, March, changed that view. And what we expect to see, you can see, I think the Bank of England, I think even raised the rates too. But I feel that for the US Fed, given that there's almost the conclusion that around the Iran war, that the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened, then we should see that they may likely hold the rate for now to watch, because they won't want to be very quick to raise rates. And I don't see them cutting rates, given the high inflation in the country on the back of higher energy prices. So what we would see, if we're going to also bring it home, is that our Monetary Policy Committee of the CBN would also want to watch at their next, which is July meeting. By then, there will be more clarity around the impact and the direction of inflation rates. So if we see that, for instance, June inflation, maybe month on month, also moderates, maybe around 1.5% levels, then it gives a bit of comfort to the CBN that the trend has reversed from almost 4%, 2.2%, now 1.7% on a month-on-month basis. So that would, what we would see rather is that CBN would still want to hold the rate in July. They won't want to be too quick to cut rates, because that may also make interest rates less attractive. And you spoke about rather the transmission mechanism around the MPR. So what I've seen that our monetary policy rate has become is just for signaling. CBN has used other measures to control interest rates, like the OMO rates, for instance. The PME rates have been used to control or curtail what they project they want the interest rate environment to be, rather than the MPR. MPR is at 26.5%, right? And you look at interest rate is on 1 year is around 19.5, 20%. So you can see that it's not tracking what the average treasury bills interest rate or interest rate in the market is, but they use it to signal. So the last rate cut, for instance, what we saw was that it signaled that the central bank will not be increasing interest rates in the market, in the OMO market, that's the open market operations, the home market, or the primary market treasury bills auctions. So that helps to signal. So we don't see as much transmission like we see in developed climes. But you know, for even most developed climes, the guidance, so you already see markets are already taking position. The new Fed chairman that will be coming in has said there will be less discussion around the projection, which means that market may be susceptible to more shocks. You know, when you look at the last Fed chairman, there have been discussion around expectations. So market had already reacted ahead of even those pronouncements. So we would be watching, you know, this new dispensation. We'll also be watching in terms of the trend and how it will impact on the market. But overall, we think that there's going to be a cautious hold, because they will need to wait and see. Most central banks don't like to just react and reverse their decisions. They want to be sure that there's clarity before they make any move.
Okay. All right, Ayo, just hold your thoughts. Let's take another quick break, and when we return, I'll be asking you just perhaps one or two other questions, and we end your segment. But let's take a break right now. We'll be right back.
Out you come.
With the shortage of brand new aircraft delivery across the world, Emirates decided to go it alone and refurbish over 200 of our existing planes at our own engineering facility. This makes it the largest retrofit program on the planet. For our customers, it means even greater consistency of a world-class product.
real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
Out you come.
With the shortage of brand new aircraft delivery across the world, Emirates decided to go it alone and refurbish over 200 of our existing planes at our own engineering facility. This makes it the largest retrofit program on the planet. For our customers, it means even greater consistency of a world-class product.
All right, welcome back. Dr. Oyebo is still with me. He's an investment professional, Dr. Ayo Dejebo. Okay, Ayo, let's look beyond the headlines, you know, because we've been talking about what's been happening, all the stuff, you know, the numbers and the data. Where do you currently see the most compelling investment opportunities? Whether, yes, in Nigeria now I'm talking about. Yeah, of course, you're an investment professional. Is it fixed income? Is it real assets? Is it dollar-denominated instrument, alternative instruments? Assuming someone comes to you today, a Nigerian with savings, a middle-income person, and says, what do I do? I'm worried about inflation. What do I do with my Naira? What is your advice in just a few seconds?
Okay, it's just a few seconds. I think it's really going to be a mixture of all, and also depending on their age, investment objective.
Yeah.
But I would say that fixed income is still the most stable for compounding.
Ayo, please, which one is fixed income? Oh? Let's not assume that you're talking to me alone. I understand what you're saying, but...
Yeah, so when I talk about fixed income, so you have the treasury bills or the commercial paper that can give you an average of 15 to at least 18% per annum. Okay. Then you can also look at the FGN savings bond for which has minimum of 5,000 naira, and the rate is around 13 to 14% per annum. Then you are credible platform with high yield savings that are regulated. You can also invest with them to bridge the gap between inflation and your savings. Leaving money in your savings account makes you worse off by the day. But for stocks, we've seen that stock market has shed a bit of weight in recent times. So if you also identify quality stocks and you can also buy for long term, there's also that long-term assurance that those stocks will also bounce back and deliver more than return within the fixed income. So you have a mixture of the two, and the real estate is also something for those that have that capacity and the understanding in that space, delivered average of 30-50% on yearly basis, given the demand that we also continue to have. So you have that mixture in your portfolio. Dollar should also be part of it because of, especially those that have dollar obligations. So when we talk about portfolio, a basket is having a different form of investment based on your investment objective.
And also how much money you have too, and how much money you are willing to part with.
Correct.
Yes, okay.
Correct.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Oyebo. Thank you very much. I hope we had a good discussion this morning, and most importantly, that our viewers are able to take something from it. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon.
Always my pleasure.
All right. I've been speaking with Dr. Ayo Dejebo, who is an investment professional, and we've been talking about the global as well as domestic economic issues, and I hope that you've been able to take one or two things from our discussions, and that should make you take informed decisions. Now, let's get into the rest of the news. What's happening? The Central Bank of Nigeria is set to auction 450 billion naira worth of treasury bills on June 17th. That's today, with settlement scheduled for June 18th. The offer comprises 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day tenors, with the 364-day bill accounting for the largest share of the auction. The move comes amid strong investors' appetite for government securities and continued efforts by monetary authorities to manage system liquidity. Market watchers are also seeking clarity over the difference between the CBN's offer size and the Debt Management Office earlier 1 trillion naira auction plan for June. The Federation Account Allocation Committee, that's FAC, has shared a record 2.25 trillion naira among the federal, state, and local governments as April 2026 revenue. According to the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, this is the highest monthly allocation since the removal of the fuel subsidy. The distribution included statutory revenue, value-added tax, and a 250 billion naira augmentation. FAC also reported strong growth in both statutory and VAT revenues compared with the previous month. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has warned that Nigeria's rapidly expanding crypto market could undermine the central bank's control of monetary policy. According to the IMF, growing use of dollar-pegged stablecoins is driving a form of digital dollarization, reducing demand for the naira and making capital flows harder to track. The fund also raised concerns over money laundering and unrecorded capital outflows. Meanwhile, the IMF says the naira remains undervalued, estimating its fair value at about 1,142 naira to the dollar. The World Bank and the African Development Bank says Mission 300 is accelerating electricity access across the continent. Nigeria has connected more than 4.5 million people through private sector-led projects, while Tanzania added 7.5 million new connections. Ethiopia has also connected 4.6 million people following reforms to improve affordability, backed by billions of dollars in funding. The initiative is expanding power access at nearly twice its original pace and attracting greater private investment into Africa's energy sector. The World Bank has warned that global natural gas prices will remain volatile as geopolitical tensions, supply disruptions, and changing demand patterns continue to shake energy markets. In its latest commodity markets outlook, the CBN cited the closure of the Strait of Hormuz as a major factor behind recent price surges. Asia's LNG benchmark jumped 94%, while European prices rose 59%. Although prices have since eased, the World Bank says the market remains highly vulnerable to future supply shocks. Foreign investors invested over $3.2 billion in Nigerian bonds in the first quarter of 2026, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. The figure represents a sharp increase of more than 267% compared to the same period last year, as investors responded to attractive yields and improved foreign exchange market conditions. Portfolio investments accounted for the largest share of capital importation, with the banking sector emerging as the top destination for foreign funds. All right, let's take you through the markets very quickly, how the market's shaping up today. Of course, where the story today is really about liquidity, caution, and a global search for direction. I'll begin with the money markets. The system remains awash with cash. Banking system liquidity closed in a net long position of 3.75 trillion naira, up from 3.24 trillion naira previously. And that tells us that there's plenty of money in the system, even as short-term interest rates remain elevated. The open repo rate held steady at 22%, while the overnight rate hedged higher at 22.26%. In simple terms, banks still have access to liquidity, but the cost of money remains high, reflecting the central bank's tight monetary stance and its determination to keep inflation under control. Moving to fixed income, the story here is a market trying to balance attractive yields with expectations about future policy direction. In the OMO markets, average yields rose 9 basis points, about 20.91%, as investors sold some positions, particularly the January 2027 paper. Treasury bills told us a different story on Tuesday. Average yields fell 3 basis points to 17.82% as investors returned to the market seeking safety and relatively attractive returns. In the bond market, average yields climbed 16.7%. Activity was concentrated in the mid and long end of the curve, suggesting investors are still demanding higher compensation for longer-term risk. So the message from fixed income is clear. investors continue to believe interest rates may stay higher for longer. In the foreign exchange market, the Naira was relatively stable. At the official window, the currency closed at 1,357 Naira 18 kobo to at the dollar, a marginal depreciation of 7 points there. However, the bigger story is reserves. Nigeria's gross external reserves is at $50.8 billion, and that's an important buffer for the economy, providing greater confidence to investors, supporting foreign exchange liquidity, and helping to absorb external shocks if they happen. Now to equities. After several strong sessions, the market took a breather. The All-Share Index declined 0.5% to close at 241,984.8 points. As you can see on your screen, the year-to-date returns are still in the positive territory, however, remains a very impressive 55%. And banking stocks were the primary drag. On Tuesday, investors took profits in GTCO, Zenith Bank, UBA leading the market lower. And what is interesting is that even as the index fell, value traded rose to 36.7 billion, and that suggests that it was not panic selling, rather it was a market rotating positions and locking in profits. If we move over to what's happening in other markets across the world, let's take a quick look at the global markets now and see how the markets are trading as we speak, talking about the U.S., China, and co. In the United States, investors are positioning ahead of the Federal Reserve interest rates decision. Futures are higher, suggesting cautious optimism. The Dow continues its record-breaking run, coming close to 52,000 mark. S&P and Nasdaq pulled back as technology shares faced pressure. In Europe, markets were mixed, with auto stocks under pressure following a profit warning from BMW. Asia delivered a stronger performance today in early trade. Japan's Nikkei reached another record high. South Korea advanced strongly, and Chinese markets also posted gains, reflecting improving investor sentiment around the possibility of a U.S.-Iran peace agreement, which we discussed earlier. And that brings us to commodities now. All continued its decline as markets assess the implications of a potential peace deal between the United States and Iran. Brent crude fell below $79 a barrel in early trade today. WTI traded around $76. So the market is now asking a critical question. If Iran oil returns fully to global markets and shipping through the Strait of Hormuz normalizes, could oil prices remain under pressure? That's what I asked earlier. For Nigeria, that is a development worth watching closely. Don't forget, I'll be watching it. Meanwhile, gold is extending its winning streak for a fifth session, benefiting from expectations of lower interest rate pressures and continued demand for safe haven assets. So the global investment landscape remains shaped by three forces. This week, central bank decisions, this week, geopolitical, the diplomacy, and the direction of energy prices. And for investors, the message is simple: stay liquid, stay diversified, and above all, stay informed by watching the program. That's the much we can take on today's edition of the program. From the team here in Abuja and myself, have a profitable day. Continue to drink your coffee or your tea, because it's a wet one here in Abuja, the capital city and the commercial nerve center of the country, Lagos. I'll see you all again tomorrow. God willing, be the best you can be, but the change you want to see. I am Nancy Nnaji. Bye for now.
Therefore, armyworm has caused devastating crop losses across Africa since it arrived in 2016 in Malawi at Lilongwe University of Agriculture and Natural Resources. by technology research scientist Kingdom Kwapata is leading studies into varieties of maize whose genes have been modified to resist the pest. Such engineered crops are considered genetically modified organisms or GMOs.
We needed a solution because our farmers are suffering. Our main purpose and aim for the research is to establish whether the gene that confers resistance against fall armyworms and other lepidopteran insects is effective.
The trials are expected to take about 5 years. They are conducted in a fenced and confined maize field 500 meters away from any traditional crop to avoid possible contamination with the traditional varieties. In the meantime, lawmakers, traditional leaders, and farmers have visited the trial site to observe its progress. Some farmers are excited about the trial, which is in its first year.
This will solve the problems of lack of money to buy pesticides to kill fall armyworms, which have affected my maize harvest for many years. And I am now a happy farmer because these trials are providing solutions to the problem.
Another subsistence farmer, Esther Ganjawala, is skeptical about the technology. She notes that replacing local maize varieties with high-yielding hybrids has created new troubles.
These new varieties are not good at all. You can't harvest anything without applying fertilizers, and they are easily attacked by pests. That's why there is growing poverty. But with our local varieties, we can harvest even without applying fertilizers.
Researcher Kwapata says genetically modified crops have been introduced safely elsewhere, including the United States, Brazil, and Argentina. But many in Malawi are concerned about possible health and environmental impacts.
So even though the target is to make sure the stalk borer doesn't attack the maize or the armyworms, but actually the introduction of this GMO will affect other beneficial insects such as bees and other birds. So that is something that we don't want. We don't want to disturb that cycle.
Ganier also fears that once introduced to farmers, the GMO maize would keep other local crops from growing. Kwapata says there is no evidence that would happen, but he acknowledges that people are concerned.
There's a lot of skepticism. There's a lot of political anxiety. But in the final analysis, as researchers, we are saying that the nation needs to give us a chance to do the research diligently, independently, without due influence.
Kwapata says the researchers will present the results of the trials only to government authorities so they can decide whether the GMO maize should be introduced in Malawi. Lamek Masina, VOA News, Lilongwe, Malawi.
there is no greater job as being a mother than any other job on earth.
The woman is the mother of the murderer. The woman is also the mother of the peacemaker.
They must learn to say no to evil.
Be involved in raising your children.
I'm so concerned that a lot of the children, our children in Nigeria, do not have access to good quality education. Their parents simply cannot afford it.
Good parenting is vital to nation building.
A woman is able to program a child to be who he should be.
Actually have to make an effort at home. It all begins at home.
There's this popular saying, monkey see, monkey do.
Parents make one child seem more important than the other.
Just because your mother was a drug addict or trafficked or on the streets or whatever, that does not shape who you are.
I want you to always remember that you are stronger than you know.
It is important for a woman to critically look at your environment, at your situation, and see what you can do to add value to yourself and add value to your family.
Don't be a victim. Be the player that wins.
I know that the first thing that comes to mind when your child brings his spouse home or his girlfriend or his boyfriend home is, where is he from? But there's something that my mother also taught me that I've brought home to my children. There's no tribe that is intrinsically bad. I don't care where my children bring a husband or a wife from. The important thing is that man or that woman, will he or she be a good husband or wife to my child? The only reason why I would say no is based on behavior, attitude. I will not say no based on tribe, race, or whatever. Bring your husband, bring your wife from anywhere. Just make sure you're both going in the same direction and he's good for you or she's good for you, and a husband that will let you fly as a woman, and achieve your purpose in life.
The special guest of honor joining us whilst we commence today's program. But without wasting any much time, permit me to set the protocol as we commence. The Honorable Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosu Tijani, must greet you specially. The Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, Fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. The Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Engineer Nadungu Gagari, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation will pause proceedings as we'll receive our special guest of honor. Please bear with us as we receive our special guest who has just arrived. The dignitaries will now proceed outside to welcome him into the hall. Please, gentlemen of the press, let's just settle down. Let's just settle down. Take your designated position. Our special guest of honor has just arrived, the person of the Deputy Speaker of the Nigerian House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu. As soon as he comes into the hall, we will establish the protocol formally. Thank you very much for your patience. Ladies and gentlemen, this program is going to be short and sweet. We'll move quickly with the speed of light. Without wasting any much time, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to announce the arrival of the special guest of honor, Deputy Speaker of the Nigerian House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezie. Please, a round of applause for him to the hall. Thank you very much. I will allow for 30 seconds for the media to get their establishment shown, their designated positions. Need I remind you that this event is beamed live on several TV stations in the country. Let us ensure decorum is maintained in the room. The 30 seconds is now up. Members of the press, please move to your designated positions as we commence today's proceedings. Please, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Lady I. With that said, to set all protocols right, and to officially kick off this event. Please, media, the national anthem, the first stanza of the national anthem. Thank you.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native. Don't try that song, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians born and brought to serve our sovereign motherland.
Thank you very much. You may please be seated. Thank you. Members of the media, please return back to your designated positions. Thank you very much.
Register in seconds using your phone number.
The special guest of honor, Deputy Speaker of the Nigerian House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu. I must greet you specially this morning. The Honorable Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani. You're most welcome, Your Excellency. The Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris. Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, Fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, you're most welcome this morning. Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy, Engineer Nadugu Gagari, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, you're most welcome. The Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Dr. Mierem Ukire, Fellow, West Africa College of Surgeons, you're most welcome. Director General, Nigerian Communications Satellite, Mrs. Jane Egerton Idehe, you're most welcome this morning. The Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, Mr. Charles Ebwebo, you're most welcome this morning. The very distinguished Director Generals of agencies here present, the directors of the ministries here present, directors of the National Broadcasting Commission, directors of the Nigerian Communications Satellite here present, media executive, media stakeholders, members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's my singular honor and privilege to welcome you to the national launch of the Digital Switch Over project under the Big Picture Initiative. If your hands are not busy at this time, can we please put your hands together for the that is becoming a reality. Thank you very much. I would like to, at this time, recognize some of our dignitaries that have heeded our call and are here with us this morning. As I get the names, we'll do those introductions. But for the names I have here, permit me to recognize the representative of the Chairman, Economic and Financial Crime Commission, who is ably represented by the Director of Public Affairs, Mr. Wilson Ujare. Please, for him, a round for him. Thank you very much for coming. We also have with us the National Chairman of the Independent Association of Nigeria, Alhaji Dr. Ahmed Ramalan. Please, round. Thank you. Please. Also have the former Director General of the National Broadcast is here with us this morning, President Malam Shehu Ilela. Please. We have with us also the very distinguished Director Generals of the broadcast industry in Nigeria. We have the Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, Comrade Abdulhamid Dembos. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you for coming. We also have with us the Director General, Voice of Nigeria, Malam Jibri Baba Ndache. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you very much for coming. Director Radio. The Director General, Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Technical, please help me with the microphones, please. We also have with us the Managing Director, News Agency of Nigeria, Ali M. Ali, please a round of applause for him. Thank you very much for coming. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not doing this alone this morning. I have my colleague here who has been called on a very important assignment.
Gives you over 100 licensed channels with program guide,
Media,
pause,
please turn
rewind,
down
and catch-up features.
the
WeTV is
turn it down, please. Thank you. Without wasting any much time, I would like to invite my co-MC, Francis, stakeholders that have joined.
Thank you very much. I would like to recognize the presence of the Chairman Association of STB Manufacturers, Dr. Shitu Kabir Mohammed, OFR. I also recognize our technical partners present, ably represented by Mr. Rotimi Pedro. We have our signal distributors present, ITS Mustafa Babagana is here in the house. We have the Electronic Media Content Owners Association of Nigeria. It's a large crowd here. We have the BOT member, Madam Jibe Ologe. Thank you for coming. Mr. Adeniji Omori, President. Ajam Ina, the Vice President. And Ayade Stevie, the General Secretary. You are welcome. We recognize all partners. Because of time, we will not be able to recognize everyone, but please bear with us. Know that everyone is special to this very historic event. Thank you and welcome once again.
Thank you. Applause for her once again. Thank you very much. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're moving with the speed. I've been informed our dignitaries have other engagement. So we'll be moving with the speed of light. Coming up next is the welcome address, and this is to be delivered, or rather the opening remarks, and this is to be delivered by the Honorable Minister of Communications, the Honorable Minister of Communications, Dr. Boso Sijani. Please round of applause for him as he comes up on stage to give us the opening remark. Technical, please help us fix these microphones. Thank you.
Your Excellency, our very dear Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Okezie Kalu, I think we should give him a round of applause for this event. This will most likely, and I have to say this to MBC and NICOMSAT, that this will probably be one of the biggest events that I've been this year with very important and meaningful people in attendance. So we appreciate you for taking the time to join us. The Honorable Minister of Information, National Orientation, my big brother, H.M. Mohammed Idris, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Engineer Gagare, and your fellow Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, the Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, and of course my own Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Communications Satellite Limited, distinguished assemblies here today, heads of government agencies and parastatals, some of our development partners here today, captains of industry, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to this very special occasion. Honorable Minister of Information, let me start, of course, by congratulating yourself and the leadership of MBC, NICOMSAT, the industry stakeholders, and distinguished guests for this very special occasion. Today, Nigeria joins the rank of nations that have embraced modern digital broadcasting infrastructure to serve their people. And while this may appear to be a broadcasting milestone, its true significance lies in what it means for the ordinary Nigerians. It means clearer access to information, broader access to educational and cultural content, an improved quality of service, and of course the ability to ensure that no Nigerian is left behind simply because of where they live. This is the ultimately importance of using technology and infrastructure to deepen inclusion and improve quality of life. But many people may not pay attention to what today truly means. Today's event is something that is even bigger. What we're witnessing here is another demonstration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to investing in what is important, even when it may not always be the most visible or popular. Infrastructure as well is rarely celebrated. When it's being built, it's rarely celebrated. Yet history has showed that nations become prosperous when leaders have the courage to invest in the foundations that unlock the growth for decades to come. The digital switchover we launched today is possible because Nigeria made the strategic investment in sovereign digital infrastructure. And it is another example of this administration's commitment to building the foundations required to achieve the president's vision of a $1 trillion economy. In many ways, today's achievement, I have to tell you, is a glimpse of what's to come. Honorable Minister, what you're seeing today is just a glimpse of what's to come. Under the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Nigeria is embarking on the deployment of 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic open access infrastructure across the country. That infrastructure will connect communities, businesses, institutions, and public services across Nigeria and beyond. And what many people may not know is that while we're doing this today because we own our own satellites, our president has also approved the investment in 2 new satellites. I think we should give him a round of applause. This new 2 satellite will strengthen our capacity in communications and digital services. And what I'd like to point out is that if we combine these 2 new investments, which is the 90,000 kilometers of fiber with the new satellites, Nigeria will end up creating something that is truly transformative. Truly, truly transformative. Not only will we have the quality of connectivity that is as good as anywhere else in the world, we will also provide a significant opportunity for Nigeria to provide services beyond our own geography. So today, we're the only country in the West African region with its own satellites. The 90,000 kilometers that we're laying will cover all the borders of the country, which means neighboring countries will also be able to benefit. And the infrastructure means that you can now carry broadcasting services beyond Nigeria into neighboring countries as well. The digital switchover is therefore not the destination. I'd like to reiterate this. It is one of the first visible benefits of a much larger national digital infrastructure strategy. And what excites me most is what this means for Nigerian creativity and influence. We should think about that, and the influence as well. Our satellites do not stop at our borders. Our fiber ambitions will increase and connect Nigeria to the wider region. And together, they will create the infrastructure through which Nigerian stories, culture, innovation, and creativity can reach far beyond our borders. Nigeria already leads Africa in music, film, fashion, and digital innovation. As this infrastructure expands, it gives our broadcasters, our content creators, our producers, and our entrepreneurs unprecedented opportunities to reach audiences across West Africa and beyond. And as we know, infrastructure does not merely move signals, it amplifies culture, ideas, and influence. It therefore is a reminder that the future will belong to society that invests early and consistently in digital infrastructure. Whether it is broadcasting infrastructure or artificial intelligence or education, healthcare, financial services, or even government services-based infrastructure, every major opportunity of the future will depend on the strength of the digital foundations that we build today. This is why today's launch matters and every one of us should care about it. It's a reminder that every kilometer of fiber that we deploy, that every satellite that we launch, that every digital platform that we build brings us closer to a more connected, more inclusive, and more prosperous Nigeria. So once again, let me congratulate the Honorable Minister of Information and the National Broadcasting Commission, and also NICOMSAT, and all the stakeholders, including in particular NCC, for this important milestone. I look forward to the even greater possibilities that lie ahead of us. God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, a resounding round of applause for the Honorable Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy. Thank you very much. Permit me to recognize the presence of the representative from the National Civil Defense Corps, ACG Benito Eze, MNI. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you very much for coming. We also have with us the representative of the Chairman, CEO, National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission here with us, Mr. N.S. Paul is representing the chairman. Please, thank you very much. We also have with us the Acting Director, Communications Satellite Defense Space Administration, representing the Chief of Defense Space Administration, Brigadier General A.J. Ahmed is here with us. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you for programs such as this. Introductions is a continuum. Permit me to recognize President Officer of the Nigerian Customs Service, Deputy Comptroller Mewada. Please thank you for coming.
Also permits me to recognize the presence of Engineer Ahmed Rufai, Pioneer MD of the Nigerian Communication Satellite Limited. You're welcome, sir. We also recognize the presence of the Advertisers Association, led by the President. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. So we'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is a welcome address to be delivered by the Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, Mr. Charles Ebuebo. Please, a round of applause for him. I'm saving myself from a lawsuit.
Your Excellency, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezie-Kalu, Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, distinguished members of the National Assembly, PAMSECs here present, the heads of agency, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NAJCOMSAT, Ms. Jane Egerton, Chief Executive of Government Agencies, Development Partners, Captains of Industries, leaders of the broadcasting, telecoms, and creative industries, our esteemed technical partners, distinguished broadcasters, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. There are moments in the life of a nation that transcend policy, moments that redefine possibilities, moments that remind us that the future is not something we inherit, but something we deliberately build. Today is one of those moments. Today, we're not merely launching a digital broadcasting platform. We are launching a new national communications architecture. We're opening a new chapter in Nigeria's digital transformation, and above all, we're unveiling the big picture. The big picture is far greater than technology. It is a national vision. A vision of a Nigeria where every citizen, irrespective of geography, income, social status, enjoys equal access to high-definition television, trusted information, educational opportunities, cultural expression, and limitless digital possibilities. Today, history is not waiting for us. History is being written by us. Permit me, therefore, on behalf of the National Broadcasting Commission, to warmly welcome every distinguished guest here present today. Your presence is a powerful affirmation that the future of broadcasting cannot be built by government alone. It requires the collective vision of policymakers, regulators, innovators, investors, broadcasters, manufacturers, content creators, technology partners, and ultimately, the Nigerian people, for your unwavering support and belief in this national journey. I thank you. When we speak about the big picture, we're speaking about much more than clearer pictures. We are speaking about clearer possibilities. The big picture represents our collective ambition to demonstrate access to information, to unlock new opportunities for Nigerian content creators, to stimulate investment across the broadcasting value chain, to empower local manufacturers, to strengthen media plurality, to expand customer choice, to improve spectrum efficiency, and ultimately to position Nigeria as Africa's leading digital broadcast system. That is the future we begin to unlock today. Our gratitude therefore goes to His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFRO, whose renewed hope agenda continues to inspire transformative reforms across the country. We profoundly grateful also to the Minister of Information and National Orientation, whose steadfast leadership, unwavering commitment, and strategic has provided the momentum that has brought us to this defining day. We equally acknowledge the exceptional partnership of the Honorable Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, whose ministry has demonstrated that collaboration across government institutions is essential for national digital transformation. To our partners at NACOMSAT, our technical collaborators, our development partners, broadcasters, manufacturers, investors, and every institution that believed in this journey, today's success belongs to all of you. And indeed, I want to thank everyone, whether known or unknown behind the scene, everyone whose leadership, focus, technical input, everyone, the whole team who have put this here today. We cannot but be grateful for your contribution. As we proceed with today's program, which includes the presentation of the Big Picture Initiative, technical demonstrations of the Free TV platform, and remarks from our esteemed partners and the official unveiling by the Honorable Minister, I encourage every stakeholder to engage actively with what you will witness today. Allow me to conclude with the timeless words of the great American investor, Thomas Edison, who once said, "The value of an idea lies in the using of it." Today, Nigeria moves beyond ideas. Today, we move into implementation. Today, we move into delivery. And today, we move into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to say one more quote. It says, "Every generation is remembered for the future it chooses to build." Today, Nigeria has chosen a digital future. Today, Nigeria has chosen the big picture. And tomorrow, the world difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, another round of applause for the DGNBC. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the success of the digital switchover program depends on a reliable and resilient transmission infrastructure capable of delivering digital services across the country. It's therefore my pleasure to invite the Managing Director, CEO of the Nigerian Communications Satellite Limited, Mrs. Jane Egerton Idehi, for our own remarks. Please warmly welcome her with a round of applause.
Your Excellency, sir, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Rep, Benjamin Kalu, thank you so much, sir. It's an honor to have you. Thank you so much, sir. The Honorable Minister of Information, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, sir, good morning again. Thank you so much. You have been going the entire project. My own boss, the Honorable Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy. I think that's the true infrastructure genius for Nigeria, sir. We are very grateful. Your support has led us here. Your vision has given us the continuity we need. I also want to acknowledge the PAMSEX, Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy. Thank you, sir. PAMSEX for information. Thank you so much, man. You have been very committed to the cause. I want to acknowledge my fellow the DG for NTA. My prime customer, the DG for VON, NOA. I really want to acknowledge all the DGs, the Executive Secretary, the Chairman for BON, all our stakeholders, our partners. I must not forget at the end of the day, there is a key partner that we've not mentioned, NCC, who is also represented here by his commissioner. Okay. One of the things I remember as a young girl, 6-year-old girl, staying with my parents is the bonding time we always had. And that bonding time is 9 o'clock every day, gathered around the TV watching NTA. I don't think the story is only my story. There's a lot of families that are seeking information, students seeking knowledge, entrepreneurs seeking opportunities, and the nation seeking progress that have always done this around broadcasting. So if we imagine a Nigeria where every citizen, regardless of the location, has access to information, education, entertainment, opportunity, that is what we are trying to do here today. We make another significant step towards making this vision a reality. We want to deliver the Nigerian promise. We want to deliver the renewed hope agenda. That is why we are gathered. Because with this switch, we call it the digital switchover. It's actually the switchover TV to broadcast TV. With this switch, it's not merely a broadcasting upgrade. For us and for many of the people gathered here, it's a building initiative. It's a strategic investment into Nigerians' infrastructure, like the minister has said. Beyond 600 opportunity we say that it brings, is beyond the broadcast we will deliver to over 40 million homes. It is beyond the jobs we will create for the advertisement sector, for the wider Nigerian ecosystem. That we are taking a more informed, connected, inclusive, and empowered society. For decades, the analog broadcasting has actually served our nation well. It has connected families, it has informed citizens, it has entertained generations, but the demands of the digital age requires much more. The world is changing, technology is changing, consumer expectations are also changing, and Nigeria must continue to evolve alongside the rest of the world. And today we are making that transition. We are moving to possibilities, from analog to digital, from a restricted access to expanded opportunities. That is what the digital switchover will deliver. This switchover will create opportunities beyond television. It will create opportunities beyond local content creators. It will create opportunities beyond broadcasters. It will create opportunities beyond technology providers. It will create opportunities beyond investors. It will create opportunity for young Nigerians whose creativity and innovation deserves a larger platform. Ladies and gentlemen, we must remember that this initiative is not simply about technology. Yes, technology is valuable when it improves life. Technology is also meaningful when it creates opportunity. Technology is transformative when it reaches everyone. And that is why NIGECOMSAT is proud to be the technology partner for this project. The role of NIGECOMSAT is really significant in this project. NIGECOMSAT, now I have to toot my horn, is the premier company, and our mission actually is beyond providing connectivity. Our mission is to ensure that geography does not determine opportunity. Our mission is to ensure that communities in remote locations are not excluded from the entire digital economy and national development. Our mission is to ensure that every Nigerian can participate in the digital economy regardless of where. So through our satellite infrastructure, we are consistently working to bridge connectivity gaps, support critical national projects, and enable access to services where traditional terrestrial infrastructure. Today, we stand at the intersection of broadcasting, technology, and national development. We are witnessing a switch in mission. We are witnessing possibility. The launch of the digital switchover represents a future where a student in a rural community can access educational content more effectively. A local filmmaker can reach a wider audience. A broadcaster can deliver high-quality services. And a family, just like I said in the beginning, can enjoy richer viewing experience. Then finally, a nation can move closer to achieving its digital transformative goals. This moment reminds us that progress is never achieved by one institution alone. It took a village to get this. I know yesterday we were in a session. It really took a village. It required collaboration, partnership, vision, leadership, and it requires, just like the Minister of Information has said yesterday, a shared commitment to building a future that will not benefit just one person, one stakeholder, but a future that will benefit every Nigerian. I therefore really want to commend, the Honorable Minister of Communication has said it so well. It is not an easy feat to do this, but to even commit and go ahead and start the implementation of 2 new satellites. So we really want to commend the President, His Excellency, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It took leadership to take this journey. I think we can say in West Africa, we have led the way, and his vision has helped us lead the way. I really want to commend, yes, thank you very much, you can clap. It's true to have that vision, but the actual delivery of the vision would have been possible with the minister, without the men that are here present. The Honorable Minister for Information and the Honorable Minister, their drive has actually determined the fact that, or that actually helped deliver what we are doing today. I also want to acknowledge stakeholders that brought us here. The different stakeholders in the broadcasting community, Signal, all the different DGs in the entire media and broadcast environment, their collaboration, their support, technology partners from Free TV, organizations that have supported in one way to contribute to bringing this alive. Your dedication has demonstrated that it is possible when public and private sectors work together toward a common goal. So yes, we are switching television to innovation. We are switching to inclusion, economic opportunities, digital empowerment, and together we are switching into a brighter future for Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this historic milestone. Welcome to the future of broadcasting. Welcome to the future of Nigeria. And may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Please, another round of applause, please. Thank you, ma'am. Distinguished guests, we are mindful of time. And unfortunately, it may not be possible to take all the goodwill messages, but we sincerely appreciate your understanding. And of course, your presence here is a strong demonstration of your support and commitment to the next chapter of the digital switchover. On this note, but before I go on, please let me quickly of the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria Chairman, Senior IG. You're welcome, sir. So we proceed messages. Please, we want to give you just 1 minute, please. Okay, 2 minutes. Okay, DJ has said we will give Bond Chairman 2 minutes. Sir, please, you can now come for your goodwill message. Please, can we welcome the Bond Chairman, Senior IT Vakotu, for his goodwill messages. Please, a warm round of applause, please.
The Honorable Minister and National Orientation, Honorable Minister of Communications, the Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, Managing Director, NICOMSAT. I can see an array of President of NIPR. I never knew you were back in Nigeria. Chinani Ramalan, DGNTA. Everybody is here. It's a full house. Yes. And the problem with protocol is if you want to start calling names of people as you see them, you will breach protocol itself. The Deputy Speaker, please, pardon me. I just saw your handsome face. So let me, as we say in Nigeria, let me rest on existing protocol. For us in the broadcasting organizations of Nigeria, this is a milestone.
We have been on this journey for a little over 15 years. And you know, the beauty of being a Nigerian is that anywhere we go to in the world, we hold our head high. We walk proudly and we speak proudly. And that explains perhaps why some of our African peers and brothers are jealous of the average Nigerian, because they believe that Nigerians are proud people. But we have every reason to be proud, because God has endowed this nation. We are blessed, enormously blessed, beyond our imagination. And for us who have been in broadcasting, we have been worried, we have been not proud of the event we are having today, the fact that it has taken us so long to get to where we are today. So many African countries have transited from analog to digital broadcasting. And this is an industry that a lot of people have invested billions of naira in terms of infrastructure and technology. And we believe that a lot of people have invested billions of naira in terms of infrastructure and technology. And migrating from analog to digital broadcasting, the multiplier effect can only be imagined by way of job creation for an industry that has perhaps the best movies, the best musicians. The current World Cup speaks volumes. The opening ceremony had a Nigerian performing Burna Boy, and two others, Nigerians in different parts of the three host nations. And I believe that it is only through television broadcasting that we can improve. We can show that our creativity, our talent, can be better harnessed. So I think that with digital broadcasting, so much gains will happen for those of us who are in broadcasting. And yesterday we had a session with the Honorable Minister of Information presiding, and it was to engage stakeholders and clear gray areas that we had, because there were fears that the regulators didn't consult enough. And in good spirit, they agreed that yesterday we should all meet and we should explain that, look, everybody has a role to play in the ecosystem, particularly those who had invested, because we had investors in XTB Man boxes, we had investors in technology in terms of mass transmitters everywhere. So yesterday, thanks to the minister and the DG, we agreed that that process should continue, and that whatever issues that we have after today's event, we will continue to engage and ensure that this process is not aborted, and that we have ultimately a successful switchover. For us in Bond, our joy is that the DTT is going to run side by side with the DTH. So it's going to be a dual illumination. And that for us is one of the gains that we believe should accompany today's event, because it's a long road to travel, and we can only work as fast as we both engage ourselves in terms of mutual collaboration and ensuring that we have a successful switchover that will be a win-win for all of us in the industry. I'd like to thank all those who have made this happen, particularly the Honorable Minister of Information and Technology, and Information and National Orientation. And we'd like to assure you that with us in Bonn, you have a partner as long as there is mutual trust, and the National Broadcasting Commission itself engages us in line with the resolutions of yesterday to take it one after the other and have a completely successful digital migration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Please resound a round of applause for him. Thank you. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in an event such as this, we have to alter some things so that we can move in the speed of light. I've received my directives and I will follow such. Coming up next for just 1 minute is the President and Chairman of Council of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, Dr. Ike Neliaku, FNIPRO. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes for his goodwill message. The protocol has been established, so you can align, sir.
Your Excellencies, led by the Deputy Speaker, who is speaking well, doing well, looking well, torturing well, we appreciate you for being with us. Honorable Minister of Information, today is a very historic day. I had the opportunity of working in Ministry of Information, and I know when this project started, and I know how it was resisted. But in your time, you have made it come to pass. I think we should appreciate the Minister of Information. He's a professional, and he knows how to manage issues. And that's why the Chairman Bond was able to reach an understanding with them. Thank you very much. I have 1 minute. My 1 minute is up. Thank you. God bless you.
All right, thank you. That was why when I handed over the microphone, I had to say 1 minute, and he has literally done justice. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Ike Neliaku. Thank you very much. I've also been directed just now that the STB man would also give 1 minute goodwill message. Please, the representative from STB man. Please, a round of applause for him as he comes up on stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 1 minute.
All protocol are observed, Your Excellencies. I have nothing to say here much than to say we in the setup manufacturing sector are very, very, very happy, and we are ready to give you enough box that cover the country. Anytime you need us, call on us. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause for him. I believe all my guests today, they are just hitting the timeline. Please, a round of applause once again for him. Thank you very much. Permit me to recognize the presence of the Executive Vice Chairman, the CEO of Nigerian Communications Commission, who is represented by his Commissioner, Mr. Sunday Abraham. Thank you for joining us. We also have the APC Deputy National Organizing Secretary here with us, Mr. Emeka Okafor. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you very much for coming. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if you hear from my voice, you understand that I am a man under pressure. We need to leave here with immediate alacrity. With that said, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we invite the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, who will give us his address, and after his address, we will have our special guest of honor give us his remark, and then we proceed on the launch. This is the new directive, and we'll follow suit. Please put your hands together for Mohammed Idris, fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations.
Thank you very much, the Masters of Ceremony. The Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, thank you for coming. For those of you who don't know, the Deputy Speaker is a friend of the industry. Even though he worked all through the night with his colleagues at the National Assembly on a very significant national assignment, he still said he would be here today, and he made it to this place. Thank you, Your Excellency, for finding time to be in our midst. My brother, the Honorable Minister of Communications, thank you for everything that you have done. I wonder how this will have been achieved without your leadership. I remember 2 years ago, in a small meeting, an informal meeting we had at the presidential villa, we told ourselves that we will make sure that in our time, DSO happens in this country. Thank you for keeping to that faith, for making sure that all the agencies under you, especially NICOM, is really a workhorse. I don't know how you fish her out, but she has really worked hard to make sure that we have seen today. The DG MBC, I hope you don't mind all the flogging and all the bashing and the shouting in the last 1 year. Make sure this is delivered. If you don't deliver it, you know the rest. I'm happy today. We have seen this happen. I won't flog you again. After today, because each time he came to me, I was always frowning my face. But from today, I will smile. Because the idea is that we need to deliver this, and we are happy that we are at this point. The chairman born, I want to say that as a very critical stakeholder in this journey, you have really worked hard to make sure that this has happened. He became chairman of Bond only about 3 or 4 months ago. And since that time, he took on this assignment. Every time he will call me, he will send a message. His colleagues will mumble and rumble and complain, and he will call me. I'm under pressure. What do we do? So we kept talking to ourselves. Yesterday, we had a 4-hour meeting, and all the gray areas were resolved. It is not possible to say that we have a perfect situation, but I'm happy that what we have done today represents the spirit, the vision that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given us. And what this tells me is that Nigeria is indeed a great nation. We can make the impossible happen. And today is a great day for all of us. My permanent secretary, the permanent secretary of Ministry of Communication, all the heads of agencies here, everyone, my stakeholders, the STB man people, everybody, thank you for coming. Thank you for making today happen. We are really indeed very grateful. This microphone, I worked 2 years to get this one. It's not this microphone that will stop me. So even if the microphone refuses to work, I will not stop talking. I will still continue to talk. Today marks a significant, I will continue to hold it with the hope that the sound comes up. Today marks a significant milestone in the history of broadcasting in Nigeria. After years of planning, investment, stakeholder engagement, and perseverance, we have gathered here today to take a major step in the modernization of the broadcasting industry by launching the Digital Switch Over platform. I am indeed delighted to welcome all partners, industry leaders, broadcasters, content creators, manufacturers, regulators, and members of the public to this historic occasion. This factory is complaining, but I will keep moving. This achievement will not have been possible without the support, leadership, and commitment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR, whose renewed hope agenda places strong emphasis on digital transformation, economic growth, innovation, and the development of critical national infrastructure. It is indeed the President's vision that has led us here today. From the outset, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has demonstrated a clear commitment to building a modern communications ecosystem capable of supporting national development, creating jobs, empowering local industries, and expanding opportunities for Nigerian businesses and creative talents. The launch of this platform today is therefore not merely a broadcasting milestone. It is part of a broader, more connected, more competitive, and more prosperous Nigeria. Under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the federal government has provided the necessary support, policy direction, and resources to advance this important national project. This administration recognizes that broadcasting remains a strategic sector for information dissemination, education, national cohesion, cultural promotion, and economic development. The Digital Switch Over project is therefore not simply a technological transition, it is an investment in Nigeria's future. Yesterday, as has been said, we held an extensive stakeholder engagement session with representatives from the broadcasters, signal distributors, set-top box manufacturers, content producers, Nikon, Digiteam, Bond, Alcon, among other critical stakeholders. The discussions were robust, frank, constructive, but more important, the message that came out of it is very clear. All stakeholders must remain united in their commitment to the successful implementation of the Digital Switch Over program in Nigeria. I want to thank all of you who have made this indeed possible. The approach that we have taken reflects global best practice and ensures that Nigeria can access quality content across multiple channels, regardless of location, economic circumstance, or technology preferences. The goal is simple: to make quality broadcasting available to more Nigerians than ever before. Beyond technology, therefore, DSO is an economic and a creative industry project. The opportunities before us are indeed enormous. A fully implemented DSO ecosystem will create jobs, will stimulate local manufacturing, will expand audience reach, will strengthen content production, increase advertising opportunities, and unlock new revenue streams for broadcasters and content creators. This is why the federal government has directed the National Broadcasting Commission and the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria to continue to develop a sustainable business framework to strengthen audience management system, increase advertising revenue, and support the long-term viability of this project. The DSO belongs to all of us. The DSO belongs to all of us. Its success will depend on continued cooperation among government regulators, industry players, investors, content creators, manufacturers, and consumers. Together, we can build a broadcasting industry that reflects Nigeria's immense potential and showcases our stories all over the world. Before I conclude, I wish to once again express our profound appreciation to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for his support for the transformation of Nigeria's media and broadcasting landscape. His commitment to the Renewed Hope agenda has provided the momentum necessary to unlock the long-standing projects such as the digital switchover. I also commend the National Broadcasting Commission, NICOMSAT, BORN, ARCON, DGT, broadcasters, manufacturers, and all stakeholders who have contributed to bringing us to this important event. History will remember today as the day that Nigeria took another decisive step towards completing its digital broadcasting journey. As we launch this platform today, we do so with confidence that the federal government will continue to support the broadcasting industry, strengthen local capacity, encourage innovation, promote investment, and ensure that Nigeria fully realizes the enormous opportunities offered by digital broadcasting. This launch is not the end of a journey. It is the beginning of a new chapter for Nigerian broadcasting. Together, we will build a broadcasting ecosystem that is more inclusive, more innovative, more sustainable, and better positioned to serve our people's needs. On behalf of the federal government of Nigeria and the support that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given us, it is my honor and privilege to formally launch the digital switchover platform. Thank you and God bless. Even though the microphone wanted to resist, I refused to answer the microphone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir. Yesterday he was given a title. We now refer to him as a father. Thank you so much. You've been a father. Your continuous support for this initiative cannot go unrecognized. Thank you, sir. Now, I don't know what's wrong with the sound, but we'll try and manage it. It is now time to invite the special guest of honor, the Deputy Speaker of the Nigerian House of Representatives, Right Honorable Benjamin Okezie Kalu. Please, can we give him a resounding round of applause as he comes to his own address? Thank you.
Please. Thank you for prayers. The chief host, the Honorable Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, I was thinking that the Chief of Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation Protocol, please take notes. Alhaji Muhammad Idris. Let me say this before I continue that I like the synergy between the two ministries. We won't be here today if this kind of for this microphone. We won't be here today if this kind of system between the two ministries. And that goes to show that Mr. President knows how to scout for the best talent. To be honest, I've been watching you since I came. Even before I came, your activities, the synergy is commendable. And I hope that other sister ministries and agencies will work the same way you are working. You set a goal, you push together to achieve it. We commend you. General, the General represents NBC, NTA, NOA, UN, the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, and Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information, National Orientation here present, heads of ministries, departments, and agencies of government here present, representatives of security agencies here present, the representative of EFCC here present, the representative of Controller General of Custom here present, distinguished media executives here present, development partners here present, invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by apologizing for coming slightly late. Like the minister explained, we worked till early hours of this morning. But the message of DG NICOMSAT, I hope I recognize you in that list of protocol. If I didn't, please forgive me. Her messages kept coming, reminding me that I needed to be here. And in what you were doing, I had to make that sacrifice to be here. Kindly accept my apology. I'm honored to join you on this historic occasion, marking Nigeria's official digital switchover. What we are witnessing today may appear as technical milestone. May history consistently show sequential transformation, often beginning precisely this way. Railways reshape economy, electricity transform productivity, the internet redefine modern civilization. The digital switchover belongs in that category of foundation. It is not simply a migration from analog to digital broadcasting. It is policy and developmental threshold that separates nations that control the future from those that actively shape it. In the 21st century, connectivity is a core determinant of national competitiveness. Data is a strategic economic asset, and digital infrastructure now stands alongside road, ports, and power as critical national. Nigeria is positioned to compete in this new era with a population exceeding 230 million people and one of the youngest populations in the world. Our greatest resource is not beneath the ground. It is the creativity, the resilience, and the intelligence of our people. Every day, Young Nigerians are building globally competitive solutions in financial technology, in health innovation, in agriculture, in cybersecurity, software development, and artificial intelligence, demonstrating that Nigerian talent is already part of the global digital economy. This reality places a responsibility on public policy. Digital inclusion must be treated not merely as a technological goal, but as a matter of national equity as well as social justice. A child without access to digital network is increasingly included from education and opportunity, excluded from education and opportunity, while communities without connectivity are disadvantaged in an economy that rewards information, that rewards access, that rewards innovation. The digital divide is therefore no longer a technical gap, but a development gap. The digital future directly advances this response by unlocking the digital dividend from analog transition, including spectrum, that can be repurposed to expand broadband, deepen connectivity, and stimulate economic activity. Spectrum is not merely technical. It is a national economic asset with direct implications for education, healthcare, commerce, and national security. Recognizing this, the National Assembly is translating policy understanding into legislative action. Under the leadership of the Speaker, Right Honorable Abbas Tajudeen, the 10th House is advancing reforms to strengthen Nigeria's digital future, including stronger data protection and cyber security, incentives to expand affordable broadband to underserved communities. Legislation to promote local digital content and skill development and updated spectrum management. Policies to ensure efficient use of national digital assets across broadcasting, across telecommunication, and across satellite services. This legislative direction aligns with the broader vision of the Tinubu-led government, which has placed the digital economy at the center of Nigeria's economic transformation agenda. I commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for prioritizing a digital-led growth strategy within the Renewed Hope agenda aimed at expanding economic growth and strengthening global competitiveness. The National Assembly continues to work closely with Federal Ministry of Communication under Minister Bosun Tijani, as well as our colleagues who has shown that what was difficult to achieve in 10 to 15 years is possible under his leadership as Minister of Information and National Orientation Agency. We congratulate you. We will continue to work with you to strengthen the legal and institutional framework for this transformation. This includes the development of the national digital economy and e-governance frameworks to support digital services, cybersecurity, and secure data exchange across governments, alongside online investment in national fiber optic expansion and broader connectivity for millions of previously unconnected Nigerians across all geopolitical zones. The digital future we celebrate today is not an isolated event. It is part of a coordinated national effort to build a more digital economy that works for all Nigerians. Digital transformation of this scale requires collaboration between government on one side, the private sector, and development partners. And the regulatory government that enables innovation while protecting the public interest and a shared commitment to intentional future. That future is already improved as artificial intelligence reshapes productivity. Satellite systems expand communication, and digital platforms will define how societies learn and trade. The question before Nigeria is whether we will shape these changes or whether we adopt them. We must choose to lead, not only as consumers of innovation, but as contributors to the technologies that define the future. In this regard, commend the National Broadcasting Commission for driving these program national projects. I particularly recognize NACONSA for its critical role in powering the technological platform of digital transition. Satellite infrastructure, national is sending connectivity to all that serve area, strengthening national security and supporting the expansion of digital assets where terrestrial networks remain limited. NICONSAT therefore represents a vital element of Nigeria's indigenous technological capacity and a growing national asset in the global digital ecosystem. This nation that will prosper, which is our nation that is prospering in the decades ahead, are not necessarily those with the greatest natural resources, but those that succeed in connecting their people to knowledge and their people to opportunity, investing in human capital and building an ecosystem where innovation can thrive. The true measure of today's digital takeover will therefore not be technical alone, but developmental. Whether it expands opportunity, reduces inequality, and improves the life of ordinary Nigerians, it's a question that we should be asking. And I know that the answers to this question is found in this switchover. If history records anything from today, it should not only be that Nigeria completed a technological transition, it should also record that Nigeria deepened its commitment to becoming a digital nation, where innovation is enabled, where talent is empowered, and where opportunity is broadly shared. As I round up, when a nation connects its people, it unlocks its potential. When it empowers its innovators, it accelerates its prosperity. And when it chooses to build the future before the future arrives, it secures its place in history. May this digital takeover mark another decisive step in Nigeria's journey towards that future. The Parliament will always stand by you as this journey begins today. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Please, another resounding round of applause for the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. Thank you very much. At this time, the Deputy Speaker and the dignitaries will proceed on the official ribbon cutting just outside. So please, all stakeholders, all dignitaries in the front row, please make your way outside for the official ribbon cutting and tour and show our facility. Please make your way outside. Thank you.
No, we dey follow them.
They go.
They go.
We me.
We dey go back.
They go.
Oh yeah, no go. We dey go. No. They go allow na enter. Why they no go allow us? No be people is your wedding now.
Release of captives. Troops raided a known terrorist hideout in Fafu village in Matozu local government area. According to the statement, the terrorists were overwhelmed by the troops' superior firepower and aggressive assault, forcing them to abandon their camp and flee. During the operation, troops cleared the enclave and rescued 4 kidnapped victims who are currently receiving medical attention for injuries sustained during captivity. In a related development, troops deployed in Zamfara State foiled a kidnapping attempt in Zumi town, in Zumi local government area. The terrorists had reportedly infiltrated the community with intention of abducting residents. Responding swiftly to distress call, troops mobilized to the area and engaged the criminals in a friends gun battle. Unable to withstand the overwhelming firepower of the troops, the terrorists abandoned their mission and fled to the scene. Following a thorough clearance operation, troops rescued 3 abducted victims and safely reunited them with their families. The fight against banditry in Zamfara State has claimed another painful toll. 3 police anti-bomb officers were killed while responding to an explosive threat during an ongoing security operations. As colleagues and families gathered to honor the fallen officers, Inspector General of Police declared that security agencies would intensify pressure on bandits and other violent criminals operating in the state.
Thank you. Let's be seated. Your Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, represented here by the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima GCON. Let me welcome the Chief Justice of the Federal High Court, Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Honorable Justice John Tahimba Soho, and all the other justices that are here present. I'd like to especially welcome the Honorable Minister of the FCT, His Excellency Ezewon Nyesom Wike, CON, the Honorable Minister of State for FCT, Dr. Mariam Mahmood, members of the National Assembly, serving and former, chairman of FCT area councils, senior officials of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, members of the Honorable Minister's entourage, heads of security agencies that are here, our royal fathers, members of the press, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with pleasure that I welcome all of you to this commissioning. And I've been admiring these buildings. And I raised it with the journalist that is here that this is elegance in blocks. And he told me, will the minister also do journalist quarters? So, Your Excellencies, we are gathered here today at the intersection of service and symbolism. For what we commission is not merely a set of buildings. It is a quiet reinforcement of one of the most important pillars of national stability, the administration of justice. Some structures exist to shelter bodies, but a few of these 10 houses exist to sustain the conscience of the nation. What stands before all of us here today belongs to that rare category. These are not just residences. They are instruments of dignity, stability, and institutional respect for those who carry the burden of interpreting the law. Justice is never self-sustaining. It lives through institutions. It breathes through systems. It is delivered by men and women who carry responsibilities that extend beyond the courtroom walls. I welcome all of you to this very elegant environment as I will now invite the Acting Executive Secretary of the FCDA, Engineer Richard Yunana Dauda, to give an overview of the housing estate.
Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, here ably represented by the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, ranking members of the National Assembly that are here, and other members, both past and serving, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, the Honorable Justice John Sofo, OFR, and other Honorable Justices present here. Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister of FCT, Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, CON, the Honorable Minister of State FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmoud, Area Council Chairman present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly permit me to align with the well-established protocol by the Director of Program today as I present a project overview of the construction of 10 judges' quarters for the Federal High Court judges here in Katampe District, Abuja. Your Excellency, it is in line with its mandate of providing public infrastructure and public buildings in the federal capital that the FCT administration awarded the contract for the design and construction of 40 judges' quarters in Katampe District. 10 of these are specifically for the judges of the Federal High Court, and that is where we are now. Your Excellency, the project is aimed at providing a secured, functional, and comfortable residential accommodation for judges to enhance the delivery of justice, which is critical to the sustenance of law in any society. Your Excellency, the contract for the design and construction of the judges' quarters in Katampe District was awarded to Messrs. Details to Dot Development Nigeria Limited in September 2024. Work commenced immediately. The scope of works includes construction of 10 fully furnished 5-bedroom duplexes with boys' quarters for each of the houses within the Federal High Court judges section of the estate. The other amenities that are provided include an event center, which can take not less than 150 seating capacity, a neighborhood shop, gatehouse, generator houses and generators in them, general landscaping, a recreational ground, perimeter fencing, and other estate infrastructure like asphalt paved roads, walkways, drainage systems, electrical power supply, and water supply. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the project is fully completed and delivered in line with set standards and specifications and ready for commissioning. We thank the President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and the Honorable Minister of FCT, Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, for the opportunity to be part of this project. Thank you all for coming. God bless you and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Engineer Dauda. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest qualities needed from the judges is fair, and when properly upheld, becomes the quiet architecture of peace. It is for this reason that judicial independence must never remain an abstract principle. It must be supported in practice, protected in structure, and respected in daily governance. This House eloquently explains this. Let me welcome our architect. He's a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, one of the finest in Nigeria. I'd like to welcome here architect Ako Adakwe. He's the contractor that handled the building. And the house is as elegant as the man himself. I welcome you.
The President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, ably represented by the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON. The Honorable Minister of the FCT, Barrister Nyesom Ezenwo Wike, CON. The Honorable Minister of State, FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmood. The Honorable Chief Judge of the Federal High Court of Nigeria, Honorable Justice John Tehemba Sofo. Members of the National Assembly, serving and former, our revered judges, our royal majesties here present, distinguished invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. For want of time, please permit me to stand on the already established protocols. My name is Architect Ako Adakwe, FNIA, CEO of Detail Sudot Development Nigeria Limited, a proudly Nigerian construction company. Yesterday, we had the honor of commissioning the Court of Appeal Judges' Quarters. Today, we are privileged to gather once again to commission the completed Federal High Court Judges' Quarters, comprising 10 residential units, also delivered as part of the larger 40-unit Judges' Housing Development, initiated under the visionary leadership of His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, through the Renewed Hope Agenda. In October 2024, we broke ground on this estate with a clear promise to build residences that would meet the highest standards of quality, functionality, and comfort. Approximately 20 months on, we are glad to report that this promise has been kept. Details to dot delivers. This development also serves as a meaningful source of economic activity for over 2,000 Nigerians across various disciplines in the FCT. The benefits of this work have been felt in homes and businesses well beyond the site. I would like to place on record the role of the Honorable Minister of FCT, Barrister Nyesom Ezenwo Wike, CON, in ensuring the success of this project. He reviewed progress, he raised observations, and held everyone accountable to the agreed standards. That kind of leadership from a client is rare, and it sets a tone that filters through every level of project execution. Once again, we are equally grateful to the management and project teams of the Federal Capital Development Authority, FCDA, for the professionalism they brought to this project. They were dependable partners throughout, and the quality of what stands here today reflects their contribution as much as ours. Distinguished guests, the Federal High Court section being commissioned today consists of 10 fully furnished 5-bedroom duplexes, 10 fully furnished 3-bedroom domestic quarters, dedicated power infrastructure and utility services, gatehouse and security infrastructure, dedicated event center and corner shop. Each duplex has been thoughtfully designed and constructed to provide comfort and functionality for its occupants, featuring spacious main lounge, private lounge and family lounge, dedicated study room, 5 ensuite bedrooms, spacious modern kitchen, ante room, and 3 ensuite domestic rooms. Ample parking space accommodating up to 6 vehicles, all built to provide a secure, comfortable, and befitting living environment. As a company, We are deeply honored to have been entrusted with this important assignment. The successful completion of this project reinforces our commitment to excellence, quality delivery, and the highest professional standards. We look forward to the commissioning of the remaining section of this development soon. On behalf of Details Without Development Nigeria Limited, I thank His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, the FCDA, the judiciary, and every individual whose efforts contributed to the successful completion of this project. God bless the Federal Capital Territory. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Architect Ako. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, one truth that I know is that there must be a recognition that those who serve justice must themselves be supported by conditions that preserve their dignity, security, and focus. A nation's priorities are never truly measured by what it announces, but is built for those who uphold its most delicate responsibilities. Infrastructure defines progress, and institutions define permanence. Today, we have these residences that define our love for those that hold the trust of the nation. I'd like to welcome here the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Honorable Justice John Tahimba Toho.
Well, His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, here ably represented by the Vice President, His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, His Excellency the Minister of the FCT, His Ezenwo Nyisom, UK GCON and Life Venture, Her Excellency the Minister of State, FCT Dr. Maria Mahmoud, members of the National Assembly here present, judges of the Federal High Court here present, heads of federal agencies and parastatals here present, Area Council Chairman of the FCT here present, Royal Fathers, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm very delighted to be here for the official commissioning of this laudable project. I recall when we assembled for the foundation laying ceremony about this same time last year. It was then that the Honorable Minister of the FCT, His Excellency Ezenwo Nyisom Wike, COM, Life Venture, on behalf of the administration of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, pledged the completion of this project within 1 year. Today, in keeping with that pledge, we are gathered for the official commissioning and handing over of the project exactly as promised. This is truly commendable. As judges, while we shape the legal direction of society on a daily basis through the pronouncements we make in the courtroom, we seldom have the occasion to speak publicly without causing controversy or being misunderstood. Indeed, public scrutiny of the judiciary has never been more intense. Not surprisingly, therefore, even though the long-standing accommodation challenges facing judges have been a matter of deep concern for decades, the initial steps to address them were met with mixed reactions in the media. Yet, what makes today's event so remarkable is that it stands as a significant milestone for three key reasons. Firstly is courage. It takes a rare form of courage to back up pledges with performance, and to do so in record time regardless of stiff backlash. Delivering this project as promised demonstrates remarkable responsiveness. It is gratifying to witness the accommodation challenges of judges being surmounted so decisively. Permit me to share a philosophical reflection on the profound value of this type of support. The Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor Marcus Aurelius beautifully captured this in his Meditations. Quote, "We are made of cooperation like feet, like hands, like the rowels of the upper and lower teeth. To act against one another then is contrary to nature. Justice is a flickering flame in a harsh wind. It does not survive on its own. True righteousness belongs not only to the one who speaks truth to power, but to those who quietly shield the fire and refuse to let the darkness win. Justice is never a solitary endeavor. It is a collaborative masterpiece. To stand up for what is right requires immense courage, but to support those who stand is the very bedrock of a civilized society. When the state champions the welfare of its judiciary, it lends its own strength to the moral architecture of the world and validates the invisible code that keeps humanity together. Secondly, collaboration. It is important to note with gratitude that this occasion marks a real and seamless integration of efforts across the branches of government, while maintaining the sacred principle of the separation of powers. The executive, the legislature, and the judiciary have proven that they can pull in the same direction for the common good. On behalf of the judges of the Federal High Court, I express profound gratitude to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for steering this policy vision to reality. To the indefatigable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, His Excellency Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, CON, Life Venture, for his commitment to this laudable cause, with the able support of Dr. Maria Mahmoud, the Honorable Minister of State of the FCT. To the legislature for enabling the necessary appropriations, and to my own constituency, the judiciary, led by the Honorable the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Honorable Justice Kudira Kekere-Ekun, GCON, for championing the welfare of judges who have endured these challenges for so long. In executing this project, the contractors, consultants, technicians, and artisans have demonstrated immense skill, discipline, and dedication. Without their tireless work, this milestone would not be possible, and they have our sincere gratitude. Finally, hope. It is deeply encouraging and gives immense hope to the judiciary and the nation at large to see that the welfare of career professionals is being taken seriously. This commitment allows our judicial officers to find peace and stability in their vital roles. As the Roman philosopher Seneca once wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is abundantly sufficient." With a renewed sense of security and institutional support, our judiciary can rest satisfied in its independence and focus entirely on the administration of justice. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, my Lord, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I totally agree with him that today we are not merely commissioning presidential quarters. We are reaffirming a national understanding that the judiciary must remain independent, not only in principle, but in lived reality. That judicial officers deserve not only respect in words, but stability in welfare. Our next speaker understands what welfare means. He's a doctor who attends to people softly. Not just ordinary doctor, but a consultant family physician. Let me welcome here the Honorable Minister of State for FCT, Dr. Mariam Mahmood.
Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, His Excellency President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GTFR, ably represented by our amiable Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON. All members of the National Assembly that are here, Senate and House of Representatives, both former and serving, the Honorable Minister of FCT, Barrister Ezemo Yelsu Wiki, and Life Bencher, Mr. Project. My Lordship, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Honorable Justice John Tahimba Soho OFR, all heads of courts and justice and judges that are here, all top-ranking officials of FCT, FCDA that are here with us, area council chairman, leadership of our political parties that are here with us, members of the diplomatic corps, the contractor, royal fathers, distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to join you again today, and also I stand to express our appreciation to everyone that has come to celebrate with us another yet tremendous achievement of this administration. We thank Almighty God for making today possible. We are witnessing official commissioning of such a major project of the quarters for the Federal High Court judges, consisting of 10 beautiful houses that you can see here. As always, permit me to express our sincere appreciation to His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and also the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, whose renewed hope agenda has continued to transform vision into reality, and also for providing such befitting infrastructure that will strengthen our judicial system. I would like to appreciate the National Assembly for their continued guidance and also their legislative synergy. We appreciate the presence of the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court of Nigeria, all the distinguished judges and judges that are here, members of the bar and bench. We appreciate you for your presence, and also we congratulate you for being the beneficiary of such a major project. We extend our gratitude to His Excellency Barrister Ezemo Yelsu Wiki for his dedication and also a dynamic leadership always. We appreciate the contractors. We have to commend them for this a wonderful job, their resilience and also professionalism. For all our distinguished esteemed guests, well-wishers, and everybody that has come to celebrate this achievement with us, we say thank you for your continued support and motivation. As we commission this project today, and these keys are submitted or handed over, may this building provide comfort for our judges, may it strengthen our justice system and serve as a symbol of integrity, hope, and promise that law become the guardian of our democracy. I thank you all for coming. May God bless every one of us.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am going to introduce our next speaker very differently. All over the world, a festival is going on right now. Mexico, Canada, and United States, the FIFA World Cup. There are a few personalities in the world of football that have his traits. If you talk about strategy and tactics, about running governance, then he is the Pep Guardiola of the Rainbow Coalition. Gianni Infantino is the FIFA president. So you can also call this man the Gianni Infantino of PDP. Sir Alex Ferguson is considered one of the greatest managers of all time. This man could be called Sir Alex Ferguson of the Democratic FC. But once in a while, he moves away from policy and management, and he removes his suit, laces his Adidas boots, and plays. And when he does, he scores a lot of goals. So we could call him the Victor Osimhen of Project FC. So without much ado, let me welcome here the man who exhibits the same quality as the beautiful game of football. Please welcome the Honorable Minister of the FCT, Chief Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, ably represented by Senator Kasim Shettima, the Vice President, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. The single senators here, particularly Senator Olwelo Yeso and Senator Agum Jaribe, the Honorable Minister of State, FCT, my Lord, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, and your brother judges who are here, our dear leaders, the mandate secretaries, permanent secretaries of the FCT that are here. Your Excellency, Mr. President, let me, with your kind permission, sometimes we are delighted and happy when we see prominent Nigerians who appreciate the good works of Mr. President and always come to give support, appreciating, yes, indeed, Mr. President is doing well. Let me therefore specially recognize the former national president of the most important association in Nigeria, Nigerian Bar Association, who also former chairman of the Body of Ventures, former chairman, Council of Legal Education, and by the grace of God, the ambassador designate to the Republic of Ireland, Honorable Chukwujeka Joe Okocha, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Your Excellency, where we come from, there are traditional rulers that are very influential in our daily life, influential in where we work. I would like to recognize those who laid the foundation for some of us to use the ladder to climb where we are today. My dear brother, the political bulldozer of Rivers State, even though he has abandoned politics and now a traditional ruler. They call him sergeant, but he has never been in the army. Where he got the name sergeant, I do not know. But thank God the military is not prosecuting him for answering a sergeant without being to the army. Sergeant Chidi Awusi, the paramount ruler of ML. Your Excellency, like you said, there are those who fought for the Niger Delta, for them to be recognized based on the fact that of what they produce. What we call the Niger Delta fighters who, because of their struggle, the Ministry of Niger Delta was created. one of the influential traditional rulers in our time, and we are happy that he's here today to appreciate what Mr. President is doing. His Royal Highness, the Honorable of Old Patient Okochre, Atake Michael Tom, who is also here. Senator Philip Tanima Aduda and the leaders of the various political parties that are here, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, on behalf of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, let me join my dear sister, the Minister of State, to thank you and also welcome you. Today is the 6th of the 31 days earmarked for commissioning of projects celebrating the anniversary of Mr. President, his 30th anniversary, and your administration. It's indeed, this is history, that your administration is taking out 31 days to let the world know what you have done in the Federal Capital Territory. Yesterday, we commissioned the 10 judges' quarters for the Court of Appeal. Today, we're here for the Federal High Court. July 7, precisely, we'll be doing that of the FCT High Court, which has the highest number, as 20, but all the same standard. I'm sure the judges of the Federal High Court, even though I do not know whether they have taken a look by going inside, but I do know I pity the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, and he's going to allocate these houses. Looking to the faces of the judges, I'm sure most of them must have consulted their prayer warriors to make sure that the Chief Judge also include them here. Anything that is good is good. Nobody that will come here, no matter how wicked you are, no matter how unappreciative you are, you will say, Mr. President, we thank you for doing this. Again, it's also to understand how Mr. President feels, what he thinks about the judiciary, how the judiciary should be independent. But it cannot be independent when you cannot talk about giving them a befitting environment to work, improving their welfare. These are things that will make the independence of the judiciary and uphold the rule of law. We are very happy that we are part of this administration that are changing the narrative. I sincerely thank you for giving us the opportunity. Excellency, I pity the Acting Executive Secretary and the staff of the FCDA. You know, working with me is very difficult, very, very difficult, because you really have to show that you have the capacity to deliver. The contractor has said so. I think if I've not been here, I've been here more than 20 times supervising this project and letting him know that if you collect our money during the rainy season, you must also work during the rainy season. No excuses of, oh, it was raining. If you know you will collect our money and you won't work, keep our money. Then during Hamatan, during dry season, we can pay you the money. So I was coming here, there's nothing like it's raining. I say you can also empower those who say they are rain doctors. Go and bring them. Let there be no rain. I'm happy this project is completed within the time schedule. But I will appeal to the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court. The federal government has provided, but I believe that when we come back here in the next 1 year, it will still look like this. You know, we have problem, the culture of not having culture of maintenance culture. Most people say it's lacking in us. I don't want to believe so. I believe that if you have your own private house, the way you keep your private house is the way you keep wherever you are staying. It's very important that we keep the standard the way it is. I'm sure that we'll be happy when we come back here next 1 year. Luckily for us, the contractor has 6 months to maintain the structure before he finally leaves. I'll be glad that when Your Excellency comes here next time, you will see that it still takes the same look. Your Excellency, yesterday we flagged off the construction of the Industrial Court Judges' Quarters and that of the Code of Conduct Tribunal. That is looking by the left side and the right side of those who are there. The Code of Conduct Tribunal will have theirs there, while the judges of Industrial Court will have their own over there. And that will be completed latest January 2027. That's the assurance we have given, the same standard. And Your Excellency, let me say this. When we came here looking for land where we construct judges' quarter, there was no road around this area. But last year, Mr. President commissioned all the roads within this Katambe. This land belongs to Julius Berger PLC. And when I looked at the record, 15 years ago, they were given the property and there was no development. And I said, well, we want to build judges' quarters. So giving you this land for 15 years, no development, we'll take back our land. And all over the social media, they were calling me land grabber, land grabber. I didn't bother myself. I know where I was going to. And because any politician that has not been called any name, there you're not a politician. Part of those land grabbing is where we are today. So that people will know that I did not grab any land, rather I'm doing the work I'm supposed to do. All around these areas, I have told the ESFCD that these areas will be named Judges Zone. We have acquired every property around here. We don't want any other person to stay within this vicinity. There are those who built over 2-3 stories. I told them to bring it down, pay them compensation. But I don't want a situation where you are sent the top floor, overlooking where judges are living, and the judge is going out, you now begin to call your people, he or she is coming out at that particular time. We have to protect and give security to them. We're also building a police station here so as to be protected very well. So we think it's our duty not just giving them houses. Security is also important. I believe that with this, we should be doing our work, and I thank you for the opportunity you have given to us. On this note, sir, I invite you to talk to us and commission the project. Thank you and God bless you.
Kindly take your seats, please. The Senator representing Rivers East Senatorial District and Chairman, Senate Committee on Works, Senator Orwell Hiacho-Nyeso. The Senator representing Cross River North Senatorial District and Chairman, Senate Committee on Gas, Senator Jarigbe Agwom Jarigbe. The Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezanwo Nyeson Wike, CON. The Honorable Minister of State for the FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmoud Bunkure. Your Lordship, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court of Nigeria, Honorable Justice John Tahemba Soho, and other Federal High Court judges present here. But I will single out for recognition my mother, Justice Binta Murtala Nyako. Heads of courts of various jurisdictions present here. My former colleagues in the National Assembly, most especially Senator Philip Sanimu Aduda and Senator Mao Ohuabonwa. The paramount ruler of Emonhua Kingdom and Chairman South Monarchs Forum, His Royal Majesty Eve Sergeant Chidi Awuse. The ruler and the first Amayanabo of Ochiri Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Ateke Michael Tom. the Eze Enwa Baganu of the Obio Kingdom, Onweze Chukudinka Joy, SAN, a legal luminary, diplomat, our ambassador designate to Ireland, former president of the Nigeria Bar Association and founder of Okocha and Okocha Law Firm, live member of Audio Benches, and former chairman, Council of Legal Education, 2012 to 2026. Our deputy national chairman, South-South, Victor Giadom, and the APC National Publicity Secretary, Barrister Felix Moka. I want to weaponize the acting secretary of the FCDA, Engineer Johanna Dauda, to recognize and appreciate the leadership of the FCDA and area councils, the managing director of Details to Dot Development Nigeria Limited, Architect Ako Adapoi, captains of industry present here, senior government officials, members of the fourth asset of the RIM, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am immensely proud to stand before you today in Katampe district of the Federal Capital City to commission these recently completed 10 residential accommodations for judges of the Federal High Court. The initiative for which we are gathered here today to celebrate is a testament to what vision, political will, and rigorous execution can achieve. We are here not just to commission buildings, but to fortify a vital pillar of our democracy, the judiciary. When we embarked on the Renewed Hope agenda, we made a sacred covenant with the Nigerian people. We promised to build institutional trust, secure our nation, and ensure that the rule of law is neither compromised nor delayed. Today, with the official commissioning of these 10 housing units for judges of the Federal High Court, we are taking a definitive physical step towards fulfilling that promise. For too long, we have talked about the independence of the judiciary in abstract terms. But independent thought requires an independent and secure environment. You cannot expect judges to dispense justice without fear or favor if their basic comfort, security, and peace of mind are left to chance. True judicial independence is built on the dignity of our judicial officers. By providing this state-of-the-art residential quarters, we are ensuring that our Federal High Court judges operate from a place of security, comfort, and utmost dignity. This project is a deliberate shield against vulnerability, a statement that Nigeria values those who interpret her laws. At this juncture, I must pause to salute the tireless, dynamic, and unapologetically focused Honorable Minister of the FCT, Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike. When I gave Minister Wike the assignment to transform Abuja into a world-class city, I knew his capacity to deliver. Nyesom Wike, you have not disappointed me. From fixing critical road networks to ensuring the timely completion of projects like these judges' quarters, you have proven that performance is the only currency that matters in public service. I also extend my deep appreciation to the leadership of the judiciary. The collaboration between the executive and the judiciary under this administration remains a proud example of intergovernmental harmony for the collective good of our people. To our lordships who will occupy these quarters, this country looks up to you. The Renewed Hope agenda is anchored on equity and justice. As we provide the infrastructure to make your lives easier, we ask in return for an unwavering commitment to the swift, fair, and transparent dispensation of justice. Let these homes be centers of deep reflection, integrity, and honor. Let the judgments that emanate from your minds continue to strengthen the fabric of our democracy. Your Excellencies, my lords, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Abuja is changing. Nigeria is changing. The reforms we are putting in place across all sectors might require patience, but the fruits are beginning to show. We will not relent until every sector, be it justice, infrastructure, economy, or security, reflect the true greatness of our nation. On this note, and on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it is now my singular honor and privilege to officially commission the 10 units of judges' quarters for the Federal High Court judges here in Katempe District, to the glory of God and for the service of humanity and justice in Nigeria. Thank you all, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The following are to follow the Vice President, the Honorable Minister, the Minister of State, Senators Orwell Onyeso and Jeribe, and the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court. Those are the people to follow him inside.
It's my singular honor ever to commission these beautiful homes built by the Ministry of the Federal Capital Territory as Federal High Court judges on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for service to God, humanity, and justice. Number judges' quarters for the Federal High Court judges at Katampe District, Abuja, officially commissioned by His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, today, Wednesday, 17th June 2026.
It's not so. It's just symbolic. Look around.
But the houses are fine. Make them do for journalists now.
They do for everybody. We are the only ones that don't get. Well done.
The national anthem, please. The national anthem. Okay. There will be a short reception for the judges that are here and members of the minister's entourage in a hall down there. Only the special guests, no journalists, no camera, no press.
Thank the Awujale for their freedom to worship. That simple thank you became today's Ojude Oba, the king's forecourt.
This year, something different is happening. A princess, yes, royalty is once again riding into the spotlight. In the land where tradition has long spoken on behalf of women, Princess is rewriting the narrative, choosing to speak for herself with her grace and the power of her horse. She rides out, speaking volume with every gallop. Now, one may ask, how did she go from the palace hallway to the back of a horse? Few days ago, I met with Princess during her rehearsal. Let's find out. Good morning, Princess.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you.
Great.
And you?
I'm fine, as you can see. I'm enjoying the weather, of course.
Great.
Wow. So what name do you call this?
It's 001.
001. Why 001?
Because it's literally one of the most, if not the best behaved horse in the whole of Ijebu land.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people will want to know, how did you become a horse rider?
Oh, fantastic question. Ojude Oba made me a horse rider. Let's start from there. But I've always loved horse riding from when I was a kid. But you know our parents are overprotective and then they will say, oh no, don't do this, you're gonna fall off, you're gonna do this. And I've always wanted to ride Ojude Oba as a kid. But my dad would always say, oh, prince and princesses don't ride Ojude Oba. You're meant to sit down and let the balogos and the elections come and do their thing. So we don't have a choice, we have to accept.
And how did you start it?
So one of my uncles also loves horse riding and he's been doing it to Ojude Oba. So I just decided to join them.
Okay. And your first experience, how was it like?
It's been selfish. I'm not meant to say it, but yeah, I need to say it so I can encourage other people. The first time I climbed on horseback, I fell.
Wow.
Like I wasn't even seated properly. The horse just did this and I fell.
Wow.
My first ever time. But that didn't discourage me. I still climbed and I rode all the way from my family house to the palace and back to the family house on horseback the same day. This will be my first year that I'll be doing stunts in Ojude Oba. Like the horse rearing, the dancing. It's something I've been practicing for a while. So yeah, expect that and maybe more.
Today is Ojude Oba Festival and the streets are alive. You can feel the energy, music, color, and the smell of food fill the air. Every corner welcomes you with something unique, a glimpse, a rhythm, and a heartbeat of the festival. The gong, the talking drum calls out like it's saying, welcome home. This is more than a festival. It is a celebration of tradition and culture. I'm here to join Princess at her family house as she prepares for the festival.
Today I'm wearing Black Ajuju 007 and it's specifically designed for me, for Ojude Oba, to showcase royalty.
As you can see, the horses and the riders are ready and it is time for parade. Let's go there! So guys, look over there. Those are the horse riders. Now, let me give you a quick rundown of what is happening here today at the Ojude Oba Festival. Over 30 families are riding in this year's festival, all to honor the king, the Awujale of Ijebu Ode land. What makes Ojude Oba special from other festivals that we have in Nigeria?
I think it's because of the pop of colors, the horse riding, the regbe display. You know, that's one time where everybody bring their A game out. Everybody wants to wear their new glasses, everybody wants to wear their new jewelry. So the fashion, the pop of color, people love it. I don't just want Ijebu to be on Nigerian map or just on the map. I want people to see Ijebu through my lenses, like, this is beautiful. People are doing this, and they would also want to experience it.
Wow, I must be honest with you. I'm finding it very difficult to wrap up this report. The sight, the sand, and the horse riding. The energy from this festival is out of this world.
Well, we do love a good fashion show, which is why I am so excited to be here today at 223 Jan Smuts Creative Hub, Johannesburg. I'm here with founder and creative director Busisiwe Silwanyana, whose vision behind it all is as captivating as the looks on display. Musi, can you tell us a bit more about the inspiration behind this brand?
The inspiration behind the brand comes from me growing up, and seeing my mother sew her clothes on the dining room table, and that inspired me a lot. And she used to be a good dresser as well, so as I was growing up, I was looking up to her. Collection really are based on dressing the boardroom. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be in corporate. You could be an entrepreneur, you could be a creative as well, who wants to look elegant, timeless, chic, but also with an African luxury in what you are wearing. So at Lord Paul's, we're just bringing African luxury into the boardroom, and that's what inspires all our collections, and also to make sure that we're able to dress that woman as well outside of their workwear.
We understand that you're showcasing both old and new collections. Tell us more about that.
Yes, so Lord Paul's started in 2019, just before COVID. So after running for these couple of years post-COVID, we want to now to officially launch Lord Paul's to the public.
What we've seen so far looks stunning. I cannot wait to see more. In the heart of Eswatini, Coco Collection blends ancestral basket weaving techniques into trendy handbags. This is craft with heritage and hope.
All over the world, bags and handbags in particular are inseparably linked to their wearer. Simple and practical versions that can carry shopping or other mysterious items are humorously known as granny bags. They can be simple or intricate. And this handbag collective in Eswatini has looked to basket making to make something special.
That makes me proud of being Leswati, who can make something that will be known around the world, and also it will just make people know much about Eswatini, and also the product that came from Eswatini. They just boom. We had one of our bags, Tembi. It's a Tembi bag. It was on Vogue magazine, and the love we put when we're making the bags, I think also it added value on the bag.
The original design for these bags was inspired by how rural women in Eswatini were making woven baskets and mats. Product designer and developer Philippa Thorne had been working with master weaver Zintle Vilekati on a basket weaving project. In 2014, they started experimenting with techniques to showcase high-value weaving. Why did they want to expand from baskets to bags?
We started thinking that people have much of the homeware, like the baskets and the placemats, and we also need to keep the women doing more work so that they can do something that people will buy more also. Besides that, we were inspired about on weaving. Like I always say, I'm more than 50 techniques, so I can make a bag today, but next time I can make something else. The difference between a bag and a basket is that the bag is more refined, so the coil is smaller than the basket.
High-value handbags would mean that the weavers would earn more.
I really saw how in Europe craftsmanship was really highly valued as, beautiful for its artwork, for its skill, for the heritage and culture and the stories that it told. And I really felt like sometimes the weaving here wasn't respected in the same way that it really deserved to be. And really being able to create something that would give the women a living wage, would be able to kind of elevate weaving in the eyes of global, audience, really.
But how did they overcome the practical challenges of designing functional handbags?
This bag, the Zintle, was actually the first bag we ever made. And it was quite a process to develop it. So it actually was over the period of about a year, from first developing the weaving side and then also the leather side. In terms of the leather, we worked with an NGO called Nest. I reached out to them and I said, I'm looking for someone with expertise in handbag design. And that's how we got introduced to our third partner, Sapna Shah. And then her, myself and Zintle embarked on this journey, to kind of transform the placemats into these beautiful, fully lined leather bags. What the three of us share in common is our values, and we all had very strong matriarchal influences in our life. Sapna had been working in a more corporate environment, and when she went back to India and she visited her grandmother basically showed her all the saris, the hand-woven saris she collected, and that really sparked her passion for hand artisan work. And then Zintle, learning from her mother and her grandmother, she'd always been passionate about it. Myself, I was very inspired by my granny. She always had piles of beaded jewelry and extravagant hats. So I think she kind of really sparked my interest in fashion, which kind of led me down this road of studying fashion and then coming out to Eswatini.
The basket and wicker product market was valued at $585 million in 2023. But the artisans who harvest the grass and weave the products usually don't earn much unless the weaving and product design is exceptional. Coco Collection has been intentional about protecting the environment while empowering the lives of the women weavers they work with. How have they done this?
We have a close partnership with Gone Rural. They're the ones who work with the women who conduct the annual harvest, and they also color the grass furs. So on a sustainability side, we really want to keep working with natural fibers. And also that, something that's biodegradable. So, once people are finished with our bags, we're not leaving a footprint on the environment.
But what are the possibilities for growth within the current production model?
We will always focus on, in terms of growth, is, product innovation and, working with different weaving techniques and different natural materials. We're always on the lookout for, green alternatives for some of the components we use. I'm following with great interest alternatives to leather, for example, and that's something we would like to incorporate in the future as there become more of those on the market.
So maybe we should all take time to slow down and look at how grandma still does it. Instead of fast throwaway fashion, how could we impact the world if we shifted to classic, timeless styles that make the world a better place?
You have got to love South Africa's diverse fashion scene. From gussy street style to bold traditional prints, we have seen it all. But tonight we saw a more refined take on local fashion. And now I'm about to go catch up with some of the people who saw tonight's runway show. So Karabo, interesting thing about you, you are already wearing the brand. What exactly do you love about this brand, and perhaps maybe about the outfit that you're wearing today?
Yeah, I like that it amplifies who I am. I'm print, I'm color, I'm lively, I'm style. So I could find myself in the collection, because they dress different people, different tastes. So I'm glad I could find what I like.
Miss MC, I see you're also wearing Lord Pulse today.
Yes, I am. I'm actually dressed up in the overjoyed pants and jacket, which is part of one of their signature collections at Lord Pulse. So I'm excited. I feel elegant, I feel sophisticated, and I think that's what the brand stands for.
Listen, tough choice, but what piece was your favorite today?
Very tough choice indeed. I'm going to have to pick two.
the Fearless Lady ensemble. It's this black and orange ensemble. The black, yeah, with the black coats with the lace on it. I would definitely wear that. And I have to say, the very last outfits on the runway, it's extravagant. It's amazing. I love it.
Absolutely stunning. Listen, the first collection was absolutely amazing. Can we go see the second one now? Okay. After 20 years in advertising, Joey Kabutu made a bold move into furniture design. Now he's building a brand that puts African heritage at the center of everyday living. Let's see what that looks like.
What's your idea of good furniture? If it's eye-catching, long-lasting, and well-priced, then maybe this man's designs are for you.
I'm a lover of all things design. I'm a trained designer, but a graphic designer. So all my life I've loved spaces, I've loved well-designed products and so forth. But I found myself not finding the furniture that I loved at accessible price points.
Meet Joey Kabutu. He spent pretty much his entire career in advertising, and now he's a self-taught designer on a mission to make good design accessible and to put African heritage on the map as well.
I grew up with the fortune of doing a lot of traveling and moving around sub-Saharan Africa in particular. Being an African and consuming African culture, be it spaces, music, fashion, and so forth, influences my design. It cannot not influence my design. One of the things that's very, very common with our pieces is the fact that you hardly see any sharp corners in our designs. And I think that comes from the fact that within African traditional craft making, we're always making things by hand, carving wood by hand. And if you're doing stuff by hand, you're never going to have any sharp corners or very sharp right angles. The other thing as well is if you go into traditional African spaces, specifically like in the village and stuff like that, the furniture or what we use as furniture is quite low to the ground. So we sit on the floor, our beds are low to the floor and so forth. So you'll see across our furniture, a lot of the stuff is very low to the ground. The reason that we do that is that as African people, even just indigenous cultures around the world, the practice of being connected to the ground is quite important, of earthing ourselves. The intention hasn't been, I'm doing it because it's African, it's been organic. You know, the stuff that I'm drawn to when I design a piece, how I refine the piece is refined because of my experience, of my lived experience.
Much of South Africa's furniture is imported from China, but it's not everyone's cup of tea. Joey's furniture appeals to the middle-class market, looking for high-end, locally produced furniture without breaking the bank.
I think that our middle class is stretched financially, but they are still aspirational. And at the time, I was still in the corporate space. But even being in the corporate space, being very well employed as a senior executive, I found that beautifully made pieces of furniture were incredibly expensive.
What makes these pieces more in reach for young buyers?
A key intervention that we employ that allows us to achieve what we're trying to do in making the furniture accessible is the material that we use. One of the biggest costs is the material that we use, and we specifically use pine plywood. It's where they layer pieces of wood and compress them together. Now, pine plywood isn't typically associated with designer furniture. It's typically used for container ships and for building and stuff like that. But we saw the opportunity in this material because it's very, very strong. It's incredibly durable. So rather than using solid wood, which is what's typically used in high-end furniture, we opted for pine plywood, which is a cheaper material, but at the same time, its characteristics are that of hardwood.
For Joey, it's about storytelling through design and not just form and function.
One of the things that we do as well is all of our product names are named in indigenous African languages, whether Swahili, Shona, even Arabic and so forth, just to tell the story of the continent in some shape or form. And also to be obvious about the story that we're trying to tell. And not just South African languages because I'm South African, but for the continent because our aspiration is to be on the continent and not just to be in South Africa alone. This is called the Moyo coffee table as part of the Moyo collection. And the reason why it's called Moyo is because Moyo is the Sepedi name for the baobab tree. You know, the African baobab tree have got these massive big trunks. They're considered spiritual trees, and they were so big that people also lived inside them because they could be hollow at times. These very, very thick legs are an ode to that, reminiscent of that, of this very thick, very rooted structure that you see in nature. And essentially what this range does, it attempts to mimic that.
Joey's designs show us that beauty, heritage, and accessibility can live in the same space. And that good design is meaningful design.
Our last stop is Nairobi, where visual curator Nyambura Warenge takes us through the city's bustling creative pulse. Let's join her and see more.
Hello, I'm Nyambura Warenge. I'm a visual arts curator. We're here in Nairobi, the capital of my country, Kenya. Nairobi, with an estimated population of over 5 million people, is an energetic place. It is also one of Africa's fastest growing cities. In just over a century, Nairobi has transformed from a modest railway depot to vibrant metropolis, an economic and cultural hub in East Africa. Away from the busy streets, the city boasts lush highland terrain and the savanna that houses our famous wildlife parks. In stark contrast to those natural wonders is Mathare, one of the largest informal settlements in sub-Saharan Africa, home to almost 500,000 people. In the late 1800s, Kenya was known as British East Africa, and the traces of this colonial past are all over Nairobi. Kenya became independent from Britain in 1963. These days, Nairobi has a cutting-edge contemporary art scene that sits side by side with more traditional creative legacies. All of this makes Nairobi an exciting cultural destination that reflects a rich past. My country has an ancient history of trade with other Indian Ocean cultures. And so, we are a multicultural nation with competing viewpoints. The shows I curate offer a perspective on the complex identities that Kenyans are embracing. Together with curator Don Handa, I created a show called Found Footage. I would love to show you one of my first exhibitions, Found Footage. Found Footage looks at two photographers, one Kenyan, one Iranian German. The Found Footage show featured the work of Makti Sae, who documented Afro-Iranian communities through photographs. The Found Footage exhibition also profiled the work of Nairobi photographer Migwan Thiga, who captures coastal Kenyan communities. By featuring these two photographers, this exhibition explored questions around the identities of Africans in Indian Ocean communities. In this exhibition in Found Footage, I really looked at also getting archival footage. And this also is set up so that people interact. One of the goals of being a curator for me is how does the public engage with the work? How do they live and leave the space engaged, enlightened, and with new visions? Another exhibition I'd love to tell you about is 27. And I was brought in as a curator to catalyze a discussion around not only gay and lesbian human rights, but the rights of freedom in our country.
child shall in all circumstances be among the first to receive protection and relief in times of emergency and disaster.
UNICEF means the survival, development, and protection of children all over the world. Africa, Asia, South America, everywhere.
Ms. Hepburn traveled to virtually every area of the world where children and women are in need of assistance, giving them hope and comfort with her presence and tenderness.
I would like to read to you something very, very important, and it moves me deeply to have this privilege. The preamble to the Convention on the Rights of the Child. The child needs love and understanding and shall have the right to grow up in an atmosphere of affection and security. The child shall